business development, but really my biggest passion is helping people learn how to tell their stories right and find the right audience for that story. And then participating in the storytelling if necessary.
Yeah, you're definitely part of the story. That's what I would say is the biggest thing. Stop listening to story. Well, never stop listening to stories, but find a story you want to be a part of and shape the story, because we all have the power to do that.
So true.
Every single one of us has the power to make a contribution that helps shape the story, especially if we want to work together with great people.
Matthew, is this group kind of a global, like everyone is kind of in lots of different places around the world? So there's probably a lot of time zones represented here then. Oh, you're on mute, Matthew. Matthew, you're on mute.
There we go. Yeah, yeah, they can be from around the world. It's very more concentrated in Africa right now. The Nigerian contingent is just amazing. I have so many friends from Nigeria now, artisans. It's mind blowing. So that's why we're really going to have, like, the world headquarters will be in Nigeria.
Nice.
We're working with other artists around the world. So we're going to be employing, the foundation will be employing people, and there'll be a lot of volunteering and people giving other gifts and stuff. So we'll have low overhead. We don't have to do market. I'm a guerrilla marketer. So this group was formed without me paying Google or Apple or Facebook or anything. Yeah, I have computer and energy and my time and stuff. And then other people, you know, and that's why we're doing basically what Telos did. I don't know the story about Telos as good as Douglas, obviously. So yeah, Douglas, why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself and just give us a little background. And we're not going to get into all the details and stuff. We'll ask the big questions and we can talk about things, the tech people, because we got some tech people on the call. We can talk about those offline. This is more of the big, broad overview of things. One, will first introduce Douglas. He can give us some his experience and what he did, why he created Telos and all that, how they did it. You know, I like to know VC and all that stuff, grassroots, and that's what we did. And our goal is to either start on Telos and do a side chain after if we get big enough, or to create it, because I think we're going to be big enough anyway, do a side chain. And how do we do that? And can we do it? You know, so I don't know that stuff. I'm not the programmer. So Douglas, yeah, just give us a little bit of background about who you are. I mean, you can mention, you know, your film experience and all that stuff, and take your time, because yeah, I mean, we literally, this group did over 72 hours straight. I slept for like 12 hours or had meetings for 12 hours out of that. Other than that, I was live listening or talking. And we had poems and we had song and we played some music in the background, and we talked about mental wellness. We talked about a lot of things. talked about some things that I probably shouldn't have said, and some of it was recorded, but I don't care, because the world's at a precipice, a tipping point, and enough of us know it. And now we're going to be focused on the solutions, and we're going to work with got Arthur's coming in. We're going to work on meshing together with all these different protocols, and, you know, Join Seeds and Toucan and Clima and Regen Network and Project Drawdown and stuff like that. So that's the vision that I have, is that we transition all stakeholders together. It won't be easy. Not everyone will like each other. There can, you know, and not everything's going to flow together, you know, tomorrow, next year, 3 years. No. We have a lot of work to do for decades and decades. We just have to turn the ship in the right direction, because we're not turning in the right direction in all facets yet. Yet when we come together for the why, the mission and the vision, we can do it. The plans can change. The mission and the vision is not changing, you know, so we'll have short, medium, long-term goals. I'll be working on the roadmap and the tokenomics soon. I'm going to take some time off starting tomorrow. And then I'll talk with different people. Like One World Project is creating a DAO with 19 to 20,000 people. And they did a steering committee basically with like 40 people. And then I believe they added some more. And they said, how do we create a decentralized DAO? And so, you know, they're being selective with 40 brilliant minds from around the world. How do we do this? I'm not an expert in DAOs. I don't know where they're at on that, but I will be talking with him again, the main guy basically who formed that. and he's a brilliant guy. And we've had so many artists. I mean, I've been addicted to the NFT space for over 2 months now, and just get blown away. And so many professionals, like 45-year photographers, would come in and they would give tips and stuff, and really helping the youth get comfortable with speaking. We had a 6-year-old, Douglas, a 6-year-old spoke for the first time on our space. She had never spoke before, presented her artwork, and then she presented in
Wow.
our space, because her mother felt that it was a safe space where artists could come and present, not shill and you need to buy my art and follow me and do this, that, and everything. It's like, no. Say a poem, say a song. What inspired you to do art? We pin your art for you most of the time. I got 16 messages. Yeah, okay. So I don't see a lot more people coming in. So Douglas, why don't you go ahead and tell us what you
Sure.
want to tell us?
Sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me be here. Matthew, I have seen you on Twitter. It looks like you're making a lot of NFT purchases, and that's pretty exciting. Very, very happy to see that. My background, is a bit unusual. I've worked in a lot of creative fields. I worked in sorry, there's loud stuff
Yeah,
in
if
the
everybody
background.
could mute their mic except for Douglas, that would be good. I think I have
Um,
one of those buttons, but I'm not sure where it's at. Thank you. Thank you.
all right, thanks very much, guys. Sorry about that. So I have been working in a number of creative fields, but I've also been working in technical fields all my life. There was a time when I wanted to write books and make movies and work on TV shows and stuff like that. And I was fortunate I was able to do all that, and as well as inventing games and stuff. It was very rewarding personally, as sort of the artistic side of myself. It was not very rewarding financially. And one of the things I'm excited about with NFTs is my hope that I can that this is something where where more and more artists can make a living doing art, as a primary job. We started Telos about almost 4 years ago. We were actually working on something called EOS. It didn't go as planned or as promised, I felt, and I thought there was a better way to do it. And a lot of other people thought there was a better way to do it too, in the same way. And they joined us, and we built Telos. It's very unique. It's unique. We didn't do a ICO where we raised money, outside money, and from anyone else. We didn't go to a bunch of venture capitalists and give them like a huge chunk of the tokens for free or for very low prices.
If everybody could mute their mic again.
Thanks, guys.
What's up with this Matthew?
Matthew, you can mute the mic from your side. You can mute all the mic from your side.
Okay, I'm gonna see mute.
Yeah. It's okay. Now, sometimes, especially with phones.
Okay, I'm muting all. Okay, I'm muting all, and then I'll unmute Doug. All right. And then you'll
All right,
hear you.
thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I realized that with some phones, just unmute them.
And you're rugging a bit,
Zoom,
Douglas.
so,
you're actually you were rugging a little bit, Douglas.
I'm rugging.
Your
Doug, don't
audio
rug.
You're dragging. Your audio was dragging. The video was dragging as well.
Is this any better, do you think?
Yeah, it's okay right now.
Okay, great. Sorry about that. So I've heard that happen sometimes. I think it's some piece of software on this computer. Anyway, apologies. I haven't quite rooted that one out yet. So on this group of people, about 120 people around the world, worked for free for 6 months to build Telos. We gave it away essentially to all the people who had bought in on EOS, except that because there were a lot of huge whales, we just cut them off at 40,000. And by doing that, it really cut the supply. So Telos is very, there's no ICO. We built a lot, and we've continued to build. And we recently built an EVM, which is like an Ethereum space that can run Ethereum contracts, including NFTs. and that space is actually it's a competitive space to have EVMs, and ours is the fastest and amongst the cheapest to run. Things that would cost several $100s or at least $100 on Ethereum, depending on the time, how busy it is at the time. It cost a penny or two on Telos. So and instead of waiting and getting clogged, Telos has never really been clogged. It's never missed anything. So it's very reliable. And what we're doing now is we're doing things like NFT launches. Like this is, I don't know if I can share my screen. I'm gonna try really quick. No, you would have to allow me to share my screen, Matthew. But we're doing NFT launches. It's going great. We've got one with a famous astronaut right now that's going to end in the next, 30 minutes. Oh no, the next like 7 minutes. And yeah, it's pretty exciting actually. So lots of things go. So Telos is just building. It's a great place for NFT artists. We are also working on things in all over the world. Really big group working in Nigeria and Ghana on something called Condo Weather, where we're trying to bring accurate daily weather reports to West Africa through these weather balloons that we're launching. I mean, there's a lot of cool things. So yeah, here's some John Denver music.
Yeah, I was trying to allow you, and I'm trying to figure out. So I'll stop share. It says I can allow one. I'll figure that out. So you keep going. I'll figure it out.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So if we do, I'll share what I'm talking about. It's pretty exciting actually. So, but I'm not here to just talk about my blockchain. I'm really here to listen to you guys, answer any questions you have. So why don't, if anyone wants to hear more about this 53-year-old guy, you are welcome to, but why don't, I'd rather hear your questions. So why don't we hand it over, Matthew, or I'll just hand it back to you, sir.
Well, yeah. Okay. So here's one question, and if anybody knows how to do the screen share for the host to allow, let me know. One question I have for you. So you can white label NFT marketplaces. So how tested are those? How long have you had it, or if you had new developments, you continuously develop a marketplace, and how good is it right now? Because then can you hand it over to our can you hand it over to our people? Can our people work with your people? I mean, can we hire GoodBlocks to build the marketplace the way that we want it and design the way that we want it?
You can. I mean, you can't. I don't think GoodBlock, it doesn't do. We do our own development. We don't really do development for hire in general. Okay. But we'll try to help you find some good people to do it. And yeah, there's NFT markets. There's things like Area X NFT market. There's a new one called Byte. There's one called Tofu NFT, which is pretty big. And there's plenty of room for new NFT markets on Telos and Telos CVM. So and it seems like the three we have right now are all quite good. But again, this is something that just launched recently, and there's lots of room to grow.
Yeah, that's that's the way I see it. I see the NFT marketplace being a multi-trillion-dollar marketplace within the next 10, 12 years.
Yeah, I think so. I think so for sure.
Yeah, and I like it because you can spread the income around, because that artist in Nigeria is not going to hang their physical piece in a gallery in New York or Maui or Seattle or Paris or whatever. But now with NFTs, it opens up to everyone with a phone or a computer from around the world. So your marketplace just expanded tremendously.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have a big market. You have a lot of visibility. You don't have to do the thing of getting into like a small expensive gallery somewhere where the art buyers are going to come and maybe buy your stuff. These things can happen online and much more democratized. So it's really that's part of it. It's like the way that DeFi, with all its faults, is democratizing finance and bringing it to new people. NFTs are democratizing the art market, right? And of course, there'll be a lot of stuff. It'll go up and down, but this is an exciting time to be in it, I think.
Awesome. I made you the host, Douglas. So whenever you want to share a screen, you can.
Oh, okay. I will do that in a minute.
Okay.
No,
do it whenever. Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that I figured it out.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Yes, that's so this is mainly about the NFTs. So everyone is in here about NFTs, yet we've been talking a lot about marrying the regenerative finance, the social justice finance reform. Graham Boyd is here. We'll talk about the fair shares. So we'll work with like the One World Project coin, which is a DAO that's not even going to touch money. They're not going to mint any tokens or anything. They're just going to work with, I'm not an expert in them, so don't quote me on this, but they're going to like work with the funding, and they have the vetted projects. So 19 to 20,000 people vote on where this 10 million or 100 millions or billions of dollars go. I mean, if EOS can raise $4 billion in 1 year, tens of thousands of us around the world who know that we have to exponentially invest in the solutions and transitioning, and it's about opportunities, and it's about win-win-win solutions. I mean, when you take, and we start the low-hanging fruit, we work in the countries that allow us to create more of the fair shares commons. Like here in Serbia, we're looking at working with farmland, growing hemp, doing whatever we need to do, crop rotations, in the long-term plan. It's, that's what I love about Telos. It's not a, hey, let's get rich in 3 or 5 years and cash out and go buy an island to live happily ever after. No, the vision I'm working on is going to be a 40-year plan, and then I'll put it out to people who can look at different parts of it, even 15-minute read or an hour, 30-minute read, whatever, and you can give whatever impact that you want, because we will create a DAO to run this NFT marketplace. And the NFT marketplace is an important facet, but it's just one facet of all the things that we're doing. But for now, we'll talk about the NFT marketplace. That's why I believe that we'll have to do the side chain, because we'll be doing liquidity farming. We'll have our own chat rooms, this, that, and the other thing.
Well, eventually you may need that, but it'll be a long time. Telos can do we know we can do a total of at least 500 million transactions per day. So, and we have a lot of things coming on, but it's going to be nothing's ever even come close to that. So,
okay, cool.
But when it happens, we just create, when that happens and you're doing that many transactions, because it can happen, then you'll be on
it's a pretty seamless fork then at that time, whether it's 3 or 5 years.
It won't be a fork. We'll simply it won't be a fork.
Side chain that
create a side chain that is connected. Yeah. Okay. Like a shard on yeah.
Now, when we shard, would we have to have node operators, or we just work with the Telos node operators?
When you shard, you would use the Telos blockchain operators would.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Good. Yeah.
Whoever's elected at the time, right?
Good. Yeah. And then, so how does that work?
Constantly electing new block producers.
Can you tell us a little bit about Voter Decide? What had you build it? Why did you build it? When did you start it? And who's it available to? Things like that.
Yeah. Hang on one second. I would love to talk about that. I would share my screen. I'm in the. So we launched a blockchain. Sorry, we launched a NFT market, and it's in its final moments, and I'm involved in some very furious bidding against.
It's literally in the now
in the last minutes, right?
Every time a person makes a bid, it's going to extend the time. So Douglas is trying to win something, and I'm bidding against. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally not.
Somebody is. So it's actually pretty interesting how these things are. This is going. so I'm sorry, this came at exactly the same time. And so, so I'm stuck. I'm gonna share my screen because you guys will find this fun, I think, interesting anyway, that this is something that's happening. So on Telos right now. So we have the astronaut Scott Kelly. He did a year in space taking amazing photographs like these. And these are NFTs that, the NFTs could be almost anything.
Yes.
This one is one that I am in a fierce battle with the president, the CEO of the Telos Foundation, and I cannot lose. So I'll come in here, I'm currently the highest bidder, but I'm not going to let that stop. If I were to make another bid on this one, it would extend it to 10 to 15 10 minutes. So it's really actually an exciting time. You can see these prices are changing very quickly on these. And here's one that I really wanted to get because it's over a place that I think is really beautiful in the Bahamas. And so I'm looking to buy this one. Let's see if I can do it. And as I think I did I?
Yeah, I would think you probably have to click make bid.
I built the smart contracts. So
Okay. Yeah, I saw it flash MetaMask.
No, I do know how
quick.
this works. So that made a bid, and that changed it to my address, my same address here. These, you can see that. And now the next person is going to have to bid 19.5, and it also extended the amount of time that we had, that was left in the thing. So it's very interesting. I apologize for being distracted. It's hard not to be, but I'll stop sharing now. And by the way, it looks like you have 3 people in the oh, I have to admit them now. Okay, because I'm
Yeah, you're the host. Yeah, I can't see them.
That's okay. So I think we can co-host, but I've admitted them. And
Okay.
yeah, so, and I'll also stop my screen sharing. Anyway, it's a very exciting world right now in NFTs. So super excited. Other questions?
Yeah, so I made myself the host now. Part of, yes. Oh, security. So now this isn't to bash any competition, whatever, but what do you know, like, as far as going down, OpenSea, they did like what, $400 billion in NFT sales last year, I heard. If anybody knows that, that's
You
what
did a lot.
yeah, I did a lot. Now I've heard about breaches and hacks. What can you tell us about breaches and hacks? Or like if you've got a wallet, you're new, you just set up a wallet, you bought 3 NFTs, and I see your address, saw that you bought it, and then I send you one and it's in your hidden file. I've heard that if you even just click on it, it can have a malware to it. What can you tell us about that?
Well, sites can have malware. That is true. But what's happening, almost all the things that are everything that's being stolen is being stolen by somebody, not by somebody breaking the blockchain or cracking that code, but by somebody fooling a person, essentially. And because you can't break the blockchain, but you can always fool people, and you may not fool everybody, but you can always fool some of them. So that's kind of how that ends up happening. So somebody will put up a fake site that looks just like it. Interestingly, so this is the second NFT launch that Scott Kelly has done. And he on the first one, they didn't make a special website like I just showed you guys. And so people would throw up all these fake websites with similar sounding names, Scott Kelly, but 3 L's or whatever. And they would get people to bid there thinking those were the real NFTs. That's just a way of fooling people. So you have to you have to protect, you have to do good things to protect yourself, like creating your own website, or, making sure that you're marketing things really well, making sure you're staying in touch with your community. But those are pretty much the things you need to do. Nobody, really, most people lose these things because they've clicked on something wrong that has malware. But even if you have that, you're not going to lose your NFTs. You're going to just, your computer will be infected, and it's not good. But basically, people are just trying to fool you into putting your NFTs on a site where they shouldn't be, or agreeing to something. If you look at your MetaMask or whatever carefully and what you're really signing, you can usually save yourself some problems. It really comes down to fooling people more than anything else, I would say.
Well, so how does that work? So I have an NFT and it shows up in my NFT on OpenSea. Somebody said that OpenSea actually owns that NFT. What do you know about that?
Yeah, so in order for them to be able to sell it for you, right? So complete an auction, they need to have you basically assign it to them, and they are the holder of it during that time.
Okay.
You can pull it back at any time. But by canceling the auction, but
temporarily they own it in order to sell it.
Yeah, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to sell it. Otherwise, you could take the money for somebody,
right,
and then selling it and then not deliver the thing.
Okay, so now if I buy one today and you're a great hacker, how do you acquire that? How do you hack someone's wallet or take the
you don't hack
out?
somebody, you fool them. So the people who are doing this mostly aren't great hackers, they're just great at fooling people.
Well, and then I heard that they can take your Ethereum out and stuff, or how does, I've heard people have had their
all
Ethereum.
the same thing. So the blockchain is fine. Blockchain is secure. But people make mistakes based on based on somebody saying, oh, give us your seed phrase, or give us your private key, or sign this transaction but don't look at it. Those are the kinds of things. There's no real security risks in blockchain itself. It's all about people basically trying to fool others.
Okay, so let's say that somebody here has 1 million Telos and they have a wallet with 1 million Telos, and somebody fools them. How do they fool them, and can you track it? What if anything can you do to recover that?
Well, they could fool them into posting their private key someplace. They could say, hey, I'm from the Telos help desk. We actually have one, but they won't reach out to you like this. They won't ever ask for your keys. But they could say, well, I'm from the Telos help desk, and I want to make sure that you're signed up for our latest airdrop or whatever. And so all I need for you to do is just give me your keys and I'll make sure whatever. And people who don't quite understand how it works well enough will do that. So that's kind of how that works.
Some of the other stories that they will tell is, oh, we noticed a problem with your account. That's a pretty common phishing technique. And or hey, there's this opportunity I want to tell you about. I'm with the Telos Foundation, or I'm with X organization. Or they even talk to you from a source that you are on, like Telegram, and they have spoofed, or they not spoofed, but they've created a fake account that looks like somebody else's account, same picture and everything. And then they start a conversation with you saying, oh, did you get the latest update, or did you get the latest thing? Oh, I'll help you do that. And then people hand over because they think they're actually talking to somebody they know. So it's really important to check your conversation history if you've ever had one with that other person. I've had this particular phishing technique happen to me several times. They've never gotten anything. I usually end up doing something weird or strange in my conversation with them, just to mess with them a little bit. But they will use those types of techniques. So it's important to check your conversation history, and then also look very closely at the name and how it's spelled. If someone reaches out to you and you're like, oh, that's weird, look at their name and look at how it's spelled, because it's usually 1 or 2 letters off, usually 1. I and L in particular are common letters, because they'll stick 2 of them
Which
next
letters?
to each other.
I and
I
L?
and
It
I
could
and
be-
L.
But there's a lot of others. Like sometimes they'll do a letter like a weird A. There's so many
Yep.
letters in the character set that look, and you won't notice that it's a C, but it's actually has that little Sadia tail at the bottom, and then you're like, oh,
That's yeah.
that happens. Yeah, it's not good. So they have many. They're very sophisticated in how they fool people. But what they don't do is break the blockchain code. They just
Yeah, see, understand. That happens to me one time, and somebody like steal my arc. And one time now in 2022, somebody like copied me and like, yeah, gets the same picture of me. And they clone my account and they say, what? And I say, what? Another big D? No way. Just look, he's fake. While I have
You
Well,
would
I
mute
have a
again.
lot more subscribers, and that guy have 1, and he has even no tweets at all.
yeah.
So
Good
and
catch.
yeah,
Good catch, Big D.
you're amazing, man.
Well done.
Yeah, so you're right. But one of the great things about blockchain is there is a timestamp when you created it. So you can go in and show, hey, we made this on Telos EVM, 3 months ago, and you made this on something else today. No one can deny that this is yours, right? Those are some of the advantages. By the way, we have a hackathon on Telos that's going on that has 175,000 Telos in prizes, plus maybe some tickets to consensus for a winner, I think. At any rate, you guys should look into it, because especially you, Big D, I want to see your art. I want to see, I want to see you do this. You seem to know, like, after me and Sean, you seem to know the most on this podcast about NFTs.
He's the man. He
At
did
least of the people who've talked so far. So I'm sure probably others do too. But wow, it's not like I'm 8.
I can do any arts, Douglas.
Great. We are going to have you on. We are going to have you on the GoodBlock podcast soon.
I can do physical and animated, sometimes digital.
Okay. Sean, we got to get him on our podcast, right?
For sure.
It's crazy.
Big D. I'll just need to get your contact information after this.
You maybe
either
get it from Matthew?
Yeah, Matthew. Let me make sure I get that.
Yeah, have your people contact his people. We'll get it done. Have his lawyer sign the contract, and he wants
sure.
in the green room, in the green metaverse. He wants certain M&Ms and popsicles and stuff like that.
Good
That'll
to
be his
know.
writer. Yeah.
Good to know.
Douglas,
Yeah, you never be boring without your M&Ms.
Yeah, if you got M&Ms, you're gonna be
that is true.
entertaining without a doubt. You can throw them up in the air and catch them in your mouth.
Can we just hand this whole thing over to Big D, because he's way more fun to listen to me.
We've actually made him the main host with like over 100 adults, and he can do whatever he wants. He calls up who he wants. He talks about the presentation, the artwork, and he's a better host than me by far. And then Focus is 11. She's like another rock star. Oh, there's M&Ms. Oh, and I was gonna go into town, Big D. I said I was gonna get some popsicles and M&Ms, but I ended up not going into town. I got stuck on.
Is Focus here?
No, I
Focus here?
I didn't see her yet. I
Okay,
didn't
we'll
look
have
through all the names yet, but I didn't see her come in.
Well, as much as so, but I'll say Big D, we'll talk more, I'm sure. Do other people have questions? I see some
You know
hands
what?
raised.
You can grow up.
Okay, I
but
do see some
don't miss-
hands there.
But don't miss about the fun. So I think somebody can like speak, because many of them have hands up already. So I do
Yeah.
not want to disturb.
Let's go with Davian real quick. He's a programmer. He's an amazing electro engineer and great guy. So we'll be talking with him, Douglas and Sean. So yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna plug in my computer here.
yes. So
I think when Matthew was talking about OpenSea and that gaining access to transferring out tokens in your wallet, he was referring to signing a transaction where you give access or full access to like transferring out assets out of your wallet. And I know a lot of hidden NFTs have malicious code that calls on MetaMask to kind of give that that access.
That's true. It's called an approve. And essentially, anytime you deal with a market, whether it be an NFT market or a swap market, automated market maker type things like Uniswap or something. Anytime you do that, nothing can spend your funds without you first approving that. Now, what happens is that people get very used to that with legitimate sources like MetaMask, like Uniswap or SushiSwap or whatever, and they get used to it as a common thing, but they don't really think about it. And so then other people ask for that same thing that aren't worthy of your trust. And then, yeah, they are able to grab all of your tokens. It's a real risk. Most people don't realize that you can, like, when these things ask for approval, part of that is that you can say, well, I approve it up to 20 tokens or whatever, or half an Ethereum, but I'm not going to approve it for more. Most people, though, that's we're still in a place where for most people that's still that's a little bit beyond their understanding. And so they can't, while they have the technical ability to limit that, they don't actually get to make that. So I think we need to improve the tech and improve the tech is there, but the interfaces are not friendly enough for people. So yes, that's all possible, and it mainly relates to people approving contracts that they really shouldn't be trusting.
So part of the big thing that I've had is security and then communications. So our goal on our NFT marketplace that we would have the same message basically presented in a lot of different ways. Do you want to learn it through reading? Do you want to learn it through short videos? And then you can go from short basic stuff and you can keep going deeper. So we'll take the same message and we might produce it in 12 different ways for people who are very analytical, people who want the bottom line, less is more, and we'll do funny, witty things. We'll have children, we'll have Big D do educational videos on wallet security and stuff like that.
Man, I want to hire him as a spokesperson. I'm not joking at all.
No, I know. He
guy is amazing.
Two nights ago, he did a story rendition, and I did actually record it. So I forgot to hit record on that space, and that space went for like 18 hours or 15 hours, whatever. And he did a rendition, and I kid you not, several of us adults said that was the best storytelling ever, because he just has such great timing and voices. He does different voices.
I can tell you again today.
Yes, we will have you tell us the story later. Yes, definitely. We're building up.
But we want to spread it around. We want more people to. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hands up, and we should.
Yeah, let's spread it around.
Davian already went, so you can lower your hand if you don't have another question.
Yeah, well, Davian, write it down or remember it. We'll bring you back up. Thank you. So we'll go. No favoritism. We'll go just left to right. So I see. What's the name here? So the iPhone Brad, go ahead and what's your question or comment?
All right, how's it, guys? Everyone that's in here, I'm NFT 240 or 240 NFTs, however you want to announce it. Okay, so I've got a question on the security side of things. So yes, I understand it's people just fooling people, but remember a couple of weeks ago, the Ape Yacht Club, the biggest NFT guys in the game, they're the main ones that got hacked, and they got hacked through a airdrop. So I want to know, what is the security behind it? Are we gonna have basically a security system set up to basically scan through the airdrop before opening, or how's it gonna work from there? Because that's my one thing I'm very skeptical about right now is the airdropping, because I actually watched how the yacht club got hacked hectically, and I think they lost like $500,000 worth of NFTs. And that's my biggest concern, because if they can get hacked, I mean, okay, fine, hackers are hackers, but my suggestion is, do you think we not should have like another phase of when stuff is getting airdropped, basically to say, okay, it needs to pass through the system before it gets approved to you. So that means it needs to go through a 24-hour approval security system before you can accept it.
You're muted, Doug.
Yeah. You could certainly add additional layers of security. You don't, the blockchain makes it so you don't need those on a technical level. I think that so I'm going to start with something that may blow your minds. I personally believe that almost every hack of anything is in some way inside job. So meaning, not meaning that the people, like, just meaning that someone there involved did it. We had somebody who came in to Telos and tried to, as a programmer that we were hiring, and tried to push like code that would actually send everybody to a different website. And thank goodness we caught it and everything, but and we're able to, stop that and make, and the very first couple of people who got their funds taken, we got them made whole. But there's a lot of things where somebody involved on a team at some level is actually connected to the hack. I believe that's quite common, and goes and is impossible to find. That doesn't. I think so. The first thing is work with reputable people and make sure that the people running the chain and pushing code are aware of this problem and looking for and on constant lookout for security, and something doesn't slip through, because that's a real problem that we've experienced, right? And I think that's something that happens in a lot more places, and they just don't talk about it having happened. It's a bigger exploit than somebody going through your code and finding it. They those exploits, those mistakes sometimes get planted. Or even, people at the auditing firms. I know this is terrible to say, but I've seen several things that where the contracts got audited, and I'm very suspicious. I'm like, well, these auditing, someone in these auditing firms may be the one who told their friend, to hack it. So I don't remember, with all the stuff that happened with Luna and everything this week. I don't remember exactly remind me exactly what happened with exactly how the Bored Apes hack was pulled off, if you would.
Basically, it was airdropped, and someone from the API club was basically, they accepted the airdrop, and basically as soon as they opened it, the malware in that system basically hit the main survey and cleaned out all those NFTs that were there, that were holding all value on it. And I mean, it was a big story. I mean, it's one of the biggest things why, for example, one of the reasons ApeCoin dropped in the trademark as well, besides the uh, Elon Musk making a joke out of it. But it was one of the reasons that the values dropped, because security level just went like from point A to point zero in a split second.
Wow. So I would say that there was now I'm remembering it. There was some problem in their back end, right? So that wouldn't happen in a well run marketplace. So that's, again, there's something more there, because otherwise you would have heard of that happening 100 times by now, right?
Hmm.
Not just, it's a
So
big
will they be
story,
able
but
to-
there's more to that story than they're actually.
Will they be
Telling
able to recover that ape? Will they be able to find where that went? Or, I mean, what do you think is the consequence going to be of that hack or that fooling?
It's hard to say. I haven't, like I said, I haven't looked deeply into that one. I know they're talking about it. They're trying to say, well, I don't know. The other problem though is some things once they're stolen, they are stolen, you know, unless you want to go in and you know, change the change the way it works. And I don't think most people want to do that. So
And then I heard something about poly, and they're like bridges. So with bridges, is that more vulnerable? They're easier to attack if you're bridging two networks together or something?
yeah, bridges can be a risk point. Again, some bridges are decentralized and some aren't. And you know, if you're trusting one that's you know, not decentralized, then you know, you can end up having problems. So that is important.
Okay. So now you have a white label marketplace that's ready to go. I mean, you can offer it today, or is it you still doing hackathons?
We have white label marketplace. Yeah, there's a few different ways to do it. So, you know, whether you want to do auctions or whatnot, but yeah, there are white label marketplaces that are, you know.
Okay, is that something we'll talk later about prices and stuff like that? And then we would take it over and we would work with developers to make any changes to it.
Yeah, well, yeah, you would have to find developers. That's a process. We'll have to find developers for you guys. We'll have to make sure that it's make sure that, you know, they're trustworthy and all those things, right? And that's something we'll have to do together, I think.
And then is it something that we could, two options. One, is it something that we could hire you to help us find the programmers? I think Numinati and some of these other people maybe already do it. Is it possible that we would partner with you guys, or because you have other marketplaces, you couldn't do that?
I don't know. We have to.
I wouldn't want you. I don't know what your contracts are with these white label,
right, and this
marketplaces
is
and stuff.
a little more public of a call than I think we could effectively talk about that. But yeah,
It's not something we need to do. I just wanted to see if it was an option at all.
Sean will be a good guy for you to have those kinds of conversations with.
Yeah, we
Okay,
can have
good.
a follow-up call on that.
Okay, Sean. Yeah. We don't need to get in all the specifics and potentials. I just wanted to throw it out there. Okay, that's really good. Okay, now creating tokens. Just real quick, I've been planning a Puppy Palace token. So if I want to create a token, that's apparently pretty easy. Now, can we add that to a wallet, or how do we get that added to like an Anchor or a Trust wallet or something to do with Telos?
That is very simple. We have open source blockchain, NFT contracts that will handle the contract part. You could put it on dStor or IPFS if you want, and then you're pretty much good to go. The main thing is you have to make all the art, and you have to market it and connect with people. That's that is the biggest thing. Like I would say for everybody, the biggest thing in getting successful in NFTs is creating a community that's excited about your NFT, right?
Correct. Yeah, I get that. Okay, then how about like a liquidity pool? I'm not an expert on liquidity pools and how that works. So let's say we have 250,000 Telos ourselves, and then we're creating like a Puppy Palace token, and we have so much Ethereum or Bitcoin or whatever. So we create a pool, and people can take that PPT and exchange it for Bitcoin or Ethereum or USDT or Telos or whatever we want. Is that something that we would code and create that liquidity pool with our developers, and then we'd bridge it, or to our marketplace or something like that, or wallets?
Yeah, you could certainly do that. Yeah, that's like, again, there are a lot of open source contracts that are available from places like Open Zeppelin, and you actually want to use those. You want to use those open source ones. Because they're safer, and they've been, the closer you stay to those,
Verified.
Yeah, they're verified. So I would say aim to use those. That also means that there's a less coding for you to do. You probably will have to code your own website and all that, but but that's natural and not difficult. Just it's a regular development process. Yeah, I think those are the main tasks, but like I said, coding that stuff, the smart contracts are pretty easy. The art is important, of course, and the community building is important. And it sounds like you guys are awesome on community building, and I would bet that there's some great art being made here. So I would have no worries about you guys putting
Yeah, and we
together.
don't want to compete with people. Basically, we're fine if our artists
Competition's
are
healthy.
on OpenSea and Foundation and Arena Area X and all that stuff. We're just going to have kind of our own little niche, and we're going to be doing other things on the Telos blockchain.
Absolutely. The other thing about big markets and whatnot is that, or marketplaces, is you can get lost there, right? OpenSea has so many things going on that it's really hard for somebody to say, oh, okay, well, this is how to get to me, right? You can send them a direct link, but people aren't just going to browse those things and find you, most likely, right? So sometimes a more bespoke version that that people use within your community is better, because then you can easily find your own community. So I think that's going to be something we see more and more of. The Scott Kelly one, the astronaut one we just did, that just closed almost all, there's only 2 left going. That is likely to become a place where people list space-based NFTs, right? Because if you want to find space NFTs, like why go to OpenSea and see a billion things that aren't really what you're looking for, if you want to see like actual astronomical or astronauts or visions of Earth and all those things, you can go to one place, where to go. So I think that's going to be a pretty big movement in NFTs at this point, NFT marketplaces. So you guys are really well set up for that.
Great. Yeah. I was gonna
Sean,
ask
do you have any thoughts?
No, I mean, I always like to say that, anything is possible. You have a really great network here, and in addition, having this great relationship with the Telos community and with GoodBlock, there's some really cool opportunities for collaboration that I see. As you guys move farther along in the process, you'll be able to say, okay, these are our specific needs. And if you get the place where you're like, you need a meeting with someone to like kind of help with like what you see as next steps, please reach out to me, or Douglas's schedule is a little bit crazier. Actually, we both have crazy schedules at different times, but reach out to us and say, hey, give me an hour of time to be able to say, hey, this is where we're at, what do you see as the next steps, or what do you think is possible for us next? Because we really are passionate about making sure this community grows. And a big thing for me when it comes to this space is really helping people recognize what true mass adoption means, and in order to get there, barriers have to come down. So that's a conversation for another day. But
okay. And now one thing,
let me say one thing on top of that. So Matthew, you've been saying, well, can you guys help us with this? And you guys help us with this. And I kind of wear 2 hats here, right? So I'm with GoodBlock, right? But and mostly I've been talking about GoodBlock, but I also am, the leader of the Telos core developers. And so I'm with Telos. And when I say, oh, I don't know if we can help with that, I'm talking about GoodBlock. Telos has a huge organization all ready to help you guys. So I forget that that when you guys look at me, it's like, well, you're both things, and
you're 2 people in one. You're Superman. You're like Big D. You're a big D.
Yeah, but I just want you guys to know Telos is here to help you with all of these things. Like Telos, we're here to help you, and we're giving money away to help bring you there. and make this happen.
So we would apply for a grant or something like that with a project.
Well, we
to
have,
build.
you can apply for a grant. Like if you're doing a marketplace that is going to bring in like these 20,000 users and all that stuff, apply for a grant, right? If you're an NFT artist and you know, or anything like that, anything like that's where you're building, yeah, we have grants to help you build. If you are an NFT artist and you want to make, you know, NFTs, we have a hackathon. We have that hackathon I was talking about that has almost 200,000 Telos in prizes, and that would be a good way, you know, like that's a good way if you're, you know, to start right now if you're a NFT creator or want to be, because it has all the instructions for the first. This is the best as far as I've seen. We created the best set of instructions ever on how to build certain kinds of NFT collections. So, and we're going to keep expanding those. So we're here to help you, and we'll have seminar. Well, we have a Telos. We hired a great guy named the Big Gooey, and to be our curator of NFTs and also a chief educator about NFTs. So Telos is definitely ready to help with all of these things. GoodBlock, I just wanted to have that caveat that GoodBlock's not, we're limited in what we can do because we're a small company. We're trying to do big things like dStor and Decide Voter and all those things. But Telos is here to, you know, has a lot of resources for helping everybody here who wants to be a creator. Okay, and then so how does it work? We would set the mint prices for like the NFT marketplace, and then the transactions, and so it'd be low cost. And so like if you mint your NFT, Douglas, of a photo you took, and then I buy it, you know, we set the prices of what that costs and stuff in smart contracts and things. There's a lot of ways to do it, right? There's no single way to do it. So usually the marketplace sets its own fee. If the marketplace is going to get 2% or 3% or whatever or 10% of every NFT it sells, that's its price for being a marketplace. And that's one of the ways that different marketplaces can compete with each other. Some of those marketplaces either charge very low fees, or some of the marketplaces still charge high, you know, there's a 10% fee, but what if maybe half of that goes into a community guided fund for growing, things like that, right? So there's no one answer. But that's how people compete as marketplaces. And then there's different ways, like even within a marketplace, you can have a buy it now price, you can have an auction price. There's multiple kinds of auctions. This auction we're doing right now, every time somebody bids again, it adds 10 minutes. So you can't like go in and snipe it at the end, like with an eBay auction, but that's a way people do auctions too. But we want to do this super fair. So you get 10 more minutes, you know, so that's a way to do it. And you can use these auction contracts that we built. You can set, you as a seller say, hey, this is the floor price I want. This is how long I want it to go. And I want it to, and here's how I want it to extend. Every time somebody makes a new one, it extends 2 minutes.
You put in a reserve price.
Yeah, exactly. These are all configurable things, and each marketplace has its own flavor, but they all kind of fall into the same patterns.
If you get a chance, Douglas, just check a direct message.
Okay, from you in Telegram. Okay,
in the chat, but it's fine.
So this is our thing where
CJ's trying to get a hold of you.
I tell people, I tell people I'm talking too much. You're talking too much.
That wasn't the reason, but
I'm gonna stop talking and I'll look in case that's an emergency.
Well, if you need to call someone or do something, Douglas.
No, we're good. We're good. Okay. But I would say like Graham's here and Sean's here and so many other people here. So let's hear their questions and you know, I can.
Well, here two things real quick. So Telos node operators. Let's say that as a group we wanted to apply for Telos node operator in Nigeria, in Serbia, and United Kingdom. So we would work with you to find out, the Telos community, to find out what type of computers we need, what kind of security, memory, storage, RAM, all that stuff.
Yeah.
What kind of tech people. And then we join the community and we say, this is us. And then
Mm-hmm.
we just ask people, vote for us if you would like to support who we are and what we're doing. Is that
Exactly.
kind of what it would do? Okay.
And then and you're going to tell your story as to why you would be a good top 21 block producer,
Okay. And
and
then,
kind of some of the things that you guys are offering. It does go to story. It does go to like, this is what we would like to do for the Telos community, and this is why we need your support as node operators.
right.
Yeah.
Now, does the 900 and the 450 telos per day, does that change in value? Like, if let's say telos goes to $10 in 2 years or whatever, do you reduce the amount of money, how many telos you would get as a node operator?
Yeah, there's already something set up by smart contract. So
That's
if it
what I
goes
thought. Yeah, I just
to-
wanted to clarify that for
Yeah.
everybody.
Now the nice thing is you make more than you were making when Telos was a lower price, but you make
Yeah,
less.
it doesn't. I mean, if it's $100, you're getting 900 telos times $100, that's a lot of money.
Yep.
Is there anything you can share about the profitability of it? If you're a Telos node in the top 21, and say what your hard costs are, whether it's 3,000 euros a month or 10, doesn't really matter. Are the top 21, are they profitable in what it costs to run that office and the computers and electricity?
It's right, it's fine right now. It's profitable. If you're good at it, you can come out ahead. When Telos goes where I think it's going to go, it's going to be much better, right? Be aware though, as a group, that there are a lot of Telos block. Anyone can come in and be a block producer as long as you follow the rules. Which is just, you have to run a test net node. You have to have your information up about ownership. No one can own more than one block producer. Those things, you have to be on test net for 7 days before you come onto mainnet. Those things are all protections for the network. But within those, you can do anything, but you are up again. Like I'm a block producer, and Sean and I, at GoodBlock are a block producer. We're currently voted #1. There's 21 that get paid a full rate, and there's another 21 after that, so a total of 42. The next 21 get paid half that rate, and everybody has to be ready to step in at any time. So for the ones that are getting paid half that rate, I don't know if it's as useful right now, but are as profitable right now, but I think it has been, but you do have to go in and convince people why they should vote for you over people who've maybe been working on the chain for 2, 3, in our case 4 years, and have done a lot. You can totally be done, absolutely, but but also there's a lot of really great people. There's at least 46 people, great groups that you're going to have to convince people,
Right.
to vote for you for, instead of.
So what can you tell us about dStor? Is that still in beta, and when will it go to alpha, and can you tell us that?
Well, alpha is before beta, right? Alpha is
alpha,
when you
okay.
don't share, it with anybody else. Beta is when you do share it. Ours is sort of a limited beta. We're about ready, but we really are cautious about this. So we're probably, I think we're expanding. We're going to add a couple more customers, but it all works and it's great. But the thing with dStor is once you take it out of beta and say, okay, it's live, then massive amounts of companies and people and data are going to come in, and we just want to make sure that moment goes well. So very much measure 9 times, cut once.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Because we're storing people's data. We want it to work and be awesome.
Now, as far as going back to the Telos node, one person that I knew was, I believe, incorrect as far as like the 51% hack. Some of these cryptos have, thousands of node operators, or appear to, or they fool you into thinking that they have all this.
They have them, but they may all be owned by the same three people.
Right.
There's no, you have no idea. That's why it's important that Telos says you can only own one. And we found a few people who've tried to bypass that, and they can't be block producers anymore for 5 years or something like that, and no one will ever vote for them again. So it's a pretty stiff penalty if you're caught. And it's not just like the second one that they added, it's the first one and then the second one. They're all out if they try and cheat on that. So we've pretty good. Been lucky on getting on finding, not lucky. We have a process. We're in security. It's very important to us. So
yeah, and then
so
EOS,
you'd have to get 15 block producers on Telos, each individual organizations, all of them, most of them, the longest running the people who started the network, at least, in there, like guys like me and guys like, the TCD's lead developer, Jesse Schulman at Kalios, who's the number 2. Like you'd have to get 15 out of that 21 to collude together to do something wrong, to cheat the network. That's hard. That's far harder, than like we all like each other and have worked together for years, but I don't care what Jesse says. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do anything wrong against the network if he asks me, and vice versa, right? And so the idea that you're gonna get 15 out of 21 very independent people with strong ideas about this stuff, who you can clearly see don't agree about everything. We agree about a lot of things, but we don't agree about everything. Getting those people is much harder than getting the owners of 3 Bitcoin or Ethereum mining pools together, like to have some secret or thing, or like that's harder. Ours, that's Telos is very secure against that, as I see it.
Awesome. Yeah, we can open it up to some other questions in here. We've got Eric Sunday. I see your hand. I'll ask to unmute. Yeah, you need to get closer to the microphone.
So, yes, hello, Matthew. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, greetings, everyone. Mr. Douglas. Big Divo. Hello, everyone. I was going to talk about the security aspect concerning traditional artists, because I believe systems are being made, then systems are as well being abused, and when a system is being abused, the system is meant to be regulated. Now, I've since the introduction of the NFT space, I've had a few friends that are artists that had their art being stolen and sold as NFTs, and by such experience, they vowed never to be in the NFT space. Never to be part of the NFTs, and some actually got their Twitter accounts, muted their Twitter account and privatized their Instagram account, so to avoid their ads being stolen. Now, I think this is simply because of the lack of verification required to tokenize an image. Just anyone can actually steal an artist's work and then get it sold as an NFT. So what do you have to say about it? I think that the system needs to introduce a verification process that would require one to be able to tokenize an image. So what do you think about this? What do you have to say about this?
I have some thoughts on that. Hang on. I would say that that is a problem that exists throughout art, right? People like it's a lot easier in NFTs, but you've always had people making fakes or and like that was very hard with a painting. It got easier with photography. Now it's really easy with NFTs. So we're making the world easier for art thieves.
Well, can you code something in, like if you, Douglas, have a photo and you upload it, we have like a reverse image scan or whatever in our
those
system?
things exist. Yeah, like if you had a photo I was already on, I would say that in some ways the very best way to protect for artists now to protect themselves against art theft is actually as NFTs is actually to launch their own NFTs, because then just like Big D and I were talking about, right? You if yours has been stolen, if you had already listed it as an NFT, you have a pretty good evidence of priority, right? If you're building a community and you're saying, hey, this is my art that I've come up with, and you have videos of yourself there with it, and those types of things where you're building your audience, which is I think everyone should do if they want to be any kind of artist, especially an NFT artist. Then you can say, hey, I made this thing. You can very clearly make your point, like it's a big world, but anybody who's looking at this stuff, you can go, here's my video from 3 months ago. And here's my, oh, that's cool. And here's my, here's my video from 3 months ago. And here, and here's the art that I put online. You protect yourself with that much better than you protect yourself by not engaging, right? I think that it gives you more tools. So I would say some of these problems, NFTs didn't create, they just made a little easier. Some will always be with you because there will always be human beings who will find that stealing from others is their best strategy for improving their lives.
We're gonna create our own metaverse jail.
You could do that. So I think that, look, another thing I would say is the solutions growing in the blockchain space are growing at a very fast rate, right? Like no one ever really solved like people forging paintings, right? If you were a good enough forger, you could do it, right? And it'd be very hard to detect. You need like,
I heard some of the people in the Philippines could reproduce the master's work amazingly. I heard that over a decade ago.
Probably all over the world, but yeah, the Philippines. I've met a number of extremely talented people from the Philippines. Some of the best singers I've ever heard are in the Philippines. Some of the there are all kinds of very artistic people all over the world. But yeah, they have. But when you have like a super talented people and an economy that doesn't really reward them, then they have a lot of time to learn how to do those things.
Yeah, the risk reward, they can make much more money by doing fakes if they're successful in selling them than they could working in a grocery store or something like that.
Yeah. Now, what if we could get those people to be able to do their own? If they're that talented, let's get them to do their own art and make money on their own art. I believe that expanding the opportunities to people who don't have them is one of the best ways to improve the world.
So how do those hackathons work then? So you get a bunch of people that are good at taking code and just trying to see if there's any vulnerabilities, and then how do you reward them?
So the one that there's all kinds of hackathons. The one that we are doing, it uses Kai, which is a hackathon management platform built on Telos, and so we just did a technical one with them where I was a judge, but now we're doing we got some great projects. Now we're doing an art-based one where I'm not a judge, and we have artists as judges, and it's mainly based just on the art, not the not the code or anything. We can provide, almost everyone will use open source code that we're happy to provide for you guys for free. We just want people to bring in their artwork and their art loving communities. And then from that, I don't know exactly what the judging criteria is on that. You go to taikai.com. Sean, do you know what the link for the hackathon is? I know
Yeah,
it's
I've got that open somewhere. Let me I'll just slip that into the chat here in a minute so you guys can look for that. And they just made some changes to it because they realized that the way it's written, it sort of gave people the impression that it wasn't really for
it
all
seemed
kinds
like it
of
was only
artists,
for those
for generative,
yeah.
for generative artists, but it really is open to everyone. So let me just see if I can, I'll find that that.
By the way, I'm loving
link.
this. I'm loving our chairs. I'm
Yeah.
loving our
Yeah, I haven't used Zoom for like
cool.
6 months or something like that, so I'm playing around with it a little
I
bit.
didn't see it yet. That's great.
This is hilarious. Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to spare any expense, I wanted to go all out for this.
And there's I don't know about you guys, but for me, there's a ghost sitting next to me.
Yeah, I was gonna say we better call Bill Murray and Ghostbusters.
Who are you gonna call? Graham, you've managed to avoid it. You're still in your chair. Big D's got it going on.
Oh, look, we're on the dinner table. So what's on the menu?
Popsicles and M&Ms.
I know it's M&Ms, man. I think this is like a conference table. If this is a dinner table, it's like from a cooking show or something where we're all gonna comment on, how nice this smoked paprika is. Yeah. Oh, it really brings up the flavor.
Graham, can you give us just a little bit of an elevator pitch?
Did you capture, Matthew? Did you capture this like funny photo?
I think it's being captured. Yeah.
I'm gonna capture.
Yeah, let's Graham can I'd love to hear what you're doing and what's going on.
Yeah, give us an update, Graham, on what's going on in your world.
Yeah, I'll give a quick update. So most of you don't know me. What I've been deeply into for, well, most of my life, but seriously for the past 15 years is how do we build organizations, businesses, whether it's a DAO or a normal company, that really have regeneration baked deep into them, not just something added on. So I'm busy working on building enough money to actually invest in this stuff properly. And we've built what we're calling a startup factory, which builds inherently regenerative startups, whether as a incorporated entity or as a DAO. At the heart of what we're doing, one element is governance. A big reason why it's been so difficult to get things to be regenerative, sustainable, net positive, whatever words you're using, is because most people think of governance only in terms of how do we govern the process of taking decisions. And that the other half of governance, which is critical if we're going to get to regeneration, is who has the right to engage in decisions. And is there a balance of power across the different perspectives? Doug has touched on the problem in traditional blockchains of the whales, which have way too much power over all of the other members of the blockchain because of the historical accident that they were in there first. So they don't have power because it's healthy for the blockchain for them to have power. They have power because they were lucky enough to be in there at day zero. And maybe they were lucky enough to be in there at day zero because they had a lot of money to put in. And most of the people who have money, it's actually because they got lucky. If something slightly different in their life had happened, they might not have that much money. So if you look at most organizations and you look at all of the different stakeholders involved, let's say you want to build a set of regenerative businesses, or you want to build a paper factory. You want to build a paper factory, you need to be close to trees, you need to be close to a railroad, and you need to be close to a river. And the way that organizations are built, if you're running a paper factory, in most countries, it's very easy to just dump all of your waste in the river without anybody being able to do anything through legislation. And because the only people who take decisions are the investors, the investors are not going to care about what happens to the river, to the people downstream of the factory, et cetera, et cetera. So when we build organizations, whether it's as a DAO or as a company, what we look at is who are all of the people who are affected by what this organization does. What are all of the capitals that are affected by it? And then we build in a way of governing so that each kind of perspective, each kind of interest group has an appropriate balance of power versus the other groups, regardless of how many people there are. So, the problem with one person, one vote cooperative style voting is the opinion with the most people wins. The problem with normal incorporated company voting, the opinion with the most money wins. Our approach, you take a balance of power across all of those so that no one kind of opinion can win over the others. So that's the one key thing that we're doing, this whole balancing out of not just a healthy governance process, but also making sure that everybody who's affected by a decision has a balance of power in that process versus everybody else. To give you an idea of where that comes from, I grew up in apartheid South Africa. And in apartheid South Africa, if you were lucky enough to be born with a white skin, you had all of the power to vote, control of what happened to the country, and control of how the wealth was distributed, which obviously cannot work for 95% of the population. And we have the same situation in organizations today. If you happen to be lucky enough to have money to invest, you get all of the power to vote, control of where the company goes, and control of the wealth generated. So no wonder we haven't been able to build sustainable business in the past 5 decades since the Club of Rome Limits to Growth was published. We're not built to do it. So that's the one big part of what we do. The other thing that is different in how we build regenerative companies, I spoke about the importance of luck, and there's something deeply hidden inside that. Our way of building businesses addresses one of the big reasons why so many startups collapse. 1 in 12 startups ever rarely succeeds. 11 out of 12 collapse. And there's a deep reason behind that, which lies in economists thinking that the way to build companies is pure competition, no connection between the companies. So we build startups the way nature works. We actually build hardwired connections between companies that leads to profit sharing, things like that. And that dramatically reduces the sensitivity of businesses to bad luck events. And that gives us a way of, instead of just 1 in 12 startups succeeding, at least 2 in 12, potentially even up to 5 or 8 in 12 of good startups succeeding, because we dramatically reduce their sensitivity to bad luck. And again, this is relevant whether it's a DAO or a startup. If you build connected ecosystems of companies that are really holding together, then it's a bit like that old saying, if it takes a village to raise a child, you know, this is about building startups the way that we build village communities, where people are really connected, where if bad luck happens in one part of the village, everybody gathers round to take care of the village as a whole. Want to build a regenerative startup ecosystem, you'd better have the organizations really connected, so that when the fluctuations of good and bad luck in the environment come in, the ecosystem as a whole is anti-fragile. So that gives you a bit of an idea of what we're up to. The last thing I'll put in, which is why at some point in the not too distant future, Doug and I are going to be talking again. For this to work as a fully multi-capital regenerative ecosystem of businesses, we need ways of exchanging value in every single capital. So we're busy designing a way of capturing the value of natural capitals, human capitals, etc., so those can be directly represented as a token on a blockchain, so that if natural capital is flowing from one business to another, it doesn't have to go via money or any currency that distorts its inherent value. And that's going to be a big part of what will make our approach successful in the coming years. So Matthew, I'm not sure if that addresses what
No,
you wanted out of me.
That was
but
very good.
I thought that was exciting to hear. And for people who don't know, I've been talking with Matthew and Grant and a number of other people doing exciting stuff in the space. And it's the kind of thing that gives me hope, actually, if I can be honest. There's a lot that doesn't give me hope, but the fact that really smart, passionate people are involved and want to make the world better does give me hope. And now today I've added Big D to
Big D is the man. He's going to tell us a story. Hey, Big D, can you tell us a story now?
We're all just here for people like Big D and everybody, all those old 50-year-old guys are here to make life, to give you guys the tools to fix the problems that we made and mostly we inherited ourselves. And you guys are stuck with it, and I want to help you guys as much as possible. But in the end, I'm going to be old and dead.
You can grow up, but never forget the fun.
According to tradition.
You can grow up, but never forget the fun. Yes. Big D, have you ever heard of the Gruffalo? Can you tell us a Gruffalo story, or what would you like to tell us?
Ooh, Gruffalo is great. Okay.
Wait, I hear someone, I hear the noise. Is that from your side, Big D? Is somebody speaking?
No, it's from my iPad. I was like watching some cartoon.
Okay.
I do see a hand up, though.
You can't watch cartoons when you.
He is watching something more interesting.
All right. Well, you tell us a story, Big D. Go ahead.
Of course, I've been waiting until this moment to pass the time. Okay, so let's get started. The Gruffalo. A mouse took a straw to the deep dark wood. A fox saw the mouse, and the mouse looked good. Where are you going to, little brown mouse? Come and have lunch in my underground house. It's terribly kind of you, fox. But no, I'm gonna have lunch with a Gruffalo. A Gruffalo? What's a Gruffalo? A Gruffalo? Why didn't you know? He has terrible tusks, and terrible claws, and terrible teeth, and his terrible jaws. Where are you meeting him? Here, by these rocks, and his favorite food is roasted fox. Roasted fox? I'm off. Goodbye, little mouse. And off he fled to his underground house. Silly old fox, doesn't he know there's no such thing as a Gruffalo? On went the mouse to the deep dark wood, and out saw the mouse, and the mouse looked good. Woo-hoo! Where are you going to, little brown mouse? Come and have tea in my treetop house. It's frighteningly kind of you, Owl, but no. I'm gonna have tea with the Gruffalo. A Gruffalo? What's a Gruffalo? Toot-toot! A Gruffalo? Why didn't you know? He has knobbly knees and turned out toes, and a poisonous wart at the end of his nose. Toot-toot! Where are you meeting him? Here, by the stream, and his favorite food is owl ice cream. Oh, ice cream! Toot-toot! I'm off. Goodbye, little mouse. And off he flew to his treetop house. On went the mouse to the deep dark wood. A snake saw the mouse, and the mouse looked good. "Hiss, where are you going to, little brown mouse? Hiss, come and have a feast in my log pile house. It's wonderfully good of you, but no, I'm gonna have a feast with a Gruffalo. Hiss, a Gruffalo? What's a Gruffalo? A Gruffalo? Why didn't you know? His eyes are orange. His tongue is black. And he has purple prickles all over his back. Hiss, where are you meeting him? Here, by this lake. And his favorite food is scrambled snake. Hiss, scrambled snake, I'm off. Goodbye, little mouse. And off Snake slithered to his log pile house. Silly old snake, doesn't he know there's no such thing as a gruffer? No! But who is this creature with terrible claws and terrible teeth and his terrible jaws? He has knobbly knees and turned out toes and a poisonous wart at the end of his nose. His eyes are orange, his tongue is black. He has purple pickles over his back. Oh hell! Oh no! It's a Gruffalo! My favorite food, the Gruffalo said. You'll taste good on a slice of bread. Good? Don't call me good. I'm the scariest creature in this woods. Just walk behind me and you'll see that everybody is afraid of me. All right, said the Gruffalo, bursted out in laughter. On they went till the Gruffalo said, I hear a hiss in the logs ahead. It's Snake, said the mouse. Why, Snake, hello. Snake took one look at the Gruffalo. Oh, hell, oh no, it's a Gruffalo. Then off he slithered to his log pile house. You see, told you so. Astounding, said the Gruffalo. On they went till the Gruffalo said, I hear a hoot in the trees ahead. It's Owl, said the mouse. Why, Owl, hello. Owl took one look at the Gruffalo. Woo-hoo! Oh, help! Oh, no! Goodbye, little mouse! Woo-hoo! And off he flew to his treetop house. You see? I told you so. Amazing, said the Gruffalo. Off they went till the Gruffalo said, I hear feet on the path ahead. It's Fox, said the mouse. Why, Fox, hello. Fox took one look at the Gruffalo. Oh, hell! Oh, no! Goodbye, little mouse! And Off he ran to his underground house. Well, Gruffalo, you see that everyone is afraid of me, but now my tummy is beginning to rumble, and my favorite food is Gruffalo crumble. Gruffalo crumble! Ah! And quick as the wind, he turned and fled. All was quiet in the deep, dark wood. The mouse found a nut, and the nut was good. He has terrible tusks and terrible claws and terrible teeth and his terrible jaws. He's the Gruffalo, Gruffalo, Gruffalo. He's the Gruffalo. He has knobbly knees and turned out toes and a poisonous wart at the end of his nose. He's the Gruffalo, Gruffalo, Gruffalo. He's the Gruffalo. His eyes are orange, his tongue is black. He has purple prickles over his back. He's the Gruffalo, Gruffalo, Gruffalo. He's the Gruffalo, Gruffalo, Gruffalo. He's the Grr, 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 Gruffalo. He's the Gruffalo. The end.
Wow.
Big
Big
D.
D.
Big D,
Yay.
my man.
Make
Big
some
D, man.
noise. Big D.
Oh my
Gruffalo Big
God.
D. Nice
Oh.
one, nice one, nice one, nice one.
Wow.
Amazing, amazing,
Beautiful.
amazing.
Wow.
Lasciate stare, lasciate stare.
Well,
Come on.
if
Yeah.
anybody needs a reminder of who we have to save the world for, pretty good one for me. we can't let Big D and his generation and future generations down. Like, that's too important. You're inspiring, man. I really am so glad I got to meet you. This has been super fun, and I just so happy that I've gotten to meet you. Can't wait for you to be president of the world or something in a few years.
My God.
Can I present myself for a bit, because people shall know me often if I like introduce myself. And yeah, Douglas, I hope you like the story. Do you like it?
I like the story. It was fun. So I'm gonna be thinking about Gruffalo's all day.
Buffalo is like a huge brown like creature, which is like a huge creature with brown hair, which is like related to a bear, which has like knobbly knees, like knee protection when you're like riding on a bicycle, so you won't bruise your knee. And like, yeah, but actually they're like very old. He also like the turnout toes. The turnout toes are not like normal toes, which are stick together, or the toes which are like far away from each other, like an open hand with like far away fingers like this. And he has like a green wart, which is like very poisonous, like a pea, which is like a pea is like a very tiny vegetable, which is like round on his nose, except it's poisonous, not for eating. He have like horns and some like ears, deer ears, and yeah, he has some tusks, which is like related to an elephant, except he's not an elephant. And he like have a black tongue of a snake. Yeah, but that doesn't even look like a snake's tongue, because yeah, it's too round. It's like human like, while the snake's tongue is like, yeah, very skinny and it usually to be like straight, but it has been open. And yeah, he he have like claws which are like very sharp. His jaw is like very like he can crunch a little nut in like one go. He can crunch a nut in one go because his teeth are so strong. Yeah, so there's many Gruffalo worlds. There's even like a Gruffalo world at Chessington, or which is actually a
Where did you learn
hotel.
about Gruffalo? This is the first I've heard. Where did you learn so much about Gruffalos?
Well, when I was like a child, I first heard the Gruffalo song. Is it Gruff? And I say, is it Gruffalo or Buffalo? So I finally grew up and I knew that it was the Gruffalo. So I started watching Gruffalo cartoons all day. Yeah. So like, yeah, I think it's time to tell about myself. And yeah. So hello everyone. My name is Debug. I'm 8 years old. You can call me Big D. I'm an artist kid from Thailand, and I'm a leukemia survivor. Most of my artwork is T-Rex because when I was little, I have leukemia, and T-Rex is the one who be my best friend at the hospital, and T-Rex is my imaginary friend. People think I'm crazy because I'm talking to myself all the time. Actually, I'm talking to my T-Rex. But I do not draw only T-Rex, I draw some other artworks. You can check out my OpenSea, Crypto.com, Head Foundation. There's lots of artworks there. And thank you so much for all your kind support. And I'm very welcome, and it's my honor to tell you an amazing story about a monster, a creature which nobody had ever heard before. And thank you so much, Matthew, for inviting me to join.
You're welcome, Big D. Thank you for the wonderful story.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I hope you like my artwork, and thank you so much everybody for the support and kindness that you have done to me. Yeah, I'm very appreciated. Thank you so much to you all, and I love you all.
Thanks, Big D. Anybody else? If anybody thinks they can wants to follow that, you're a tough act to follow, my friend. But I'd love to hear from anybody else who wants to say more or has more questions for Sean and me and Matthew, or Graham or Big D or anybody. I'd love to hear from more folks. I'm curious, has this, the what you were hoping to learn on this call, have you learned? Is there stuff you still want to learn?
So far,
How can we help?
it's been extremely productive. And I know that a lot of this stuff me and Sean can do, and if necessary, we have, I don't know, is it Nathan? You have a tech guy, is it Nathan? One of your coders or something that was
Nathaniel, he runs our users and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, we've had great guy William in Scotland, and we have a lot of people. Telos has
we would
tons of-
more than likely work with Telos versus GoodBlock. Maybe some things
Yeah.
on GoodBlock, and yeah, okay. Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah, I don't know. I can look to see if anybody has their hand up right now. Yeah, I see Stephanie. I'll ask to unmute Stephanie. And then I see Eric has his hand up again. And then Tundi as well. So yes, if Stephanie, if you don't go, we'll have Tundi or Eric if you're ready. And I'll ask to unmute. So unmute. And if somebody starts speaking first, then you're second.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for putting this up. It's really amazing. Always amazing being connected with you, Mr. Matthew. And I must say I really do appreciate. Today is another very productive day for me, joining and being part of this meeting. And I'm just gonna talk a little about myself. I am Eric. I'm a hyperreal artist. I'm a hyperreal pencil artist. I as well paint from Nigeria. I make lifelike drawings with the pencils, and I am very grateful to be part of this community. I'm actually, I'm actually going to say the last words that I am hoping to be able to convince my few friends who had such awful experiences during the beginning of the NFT space. And those of them that have vowed not to be part of the NFT community, I'm hoping to be able to convince them to be part of it because they're really amazing, amazing creatives, and I believe them being part of this space will contribute to as well contribute to the beauty and the good that the space is actually doing and trying to make or making the world a beautiful place as well. So it's been really, really, really amazing being here. I really do appreciate. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yep. Thank you. And Tundi,
How can we see your hyper real art? Can you give us a link? I'd love to, or I want to see it. When I, oh, Big D, and you're, oh, so I want to see people when you guys talk about your art. Put a link in the thing and send, and because I want to see it. You know.
well, we'll have spaces, Douglas. And
okay.
Hey, Matthew, can this guy join the meeting? I just bring him into the office.
Of course he can. You're in charge of the meeting, whether you know it or not. You're in charge. You're the big D. So you can admit anybody. If you want me to mute myself, I'll mute myself.
I couldn't hold it. Big D.
Matthew, how come I can give you a big hug? I want to give you a big hug.
Where in the world are you, Big D?
I'm in Thailand at Satahip.
How did you learn such perfect English?
Wow.
With my mom. That I was born how to talk English, and you know why do I get to talk English? Because when I was in my mother's stomach, when I was still a baby, when I was still a baby, she had gone to my mother gone to learn at Africa, at Australia, and she learned a lot of English, and I learned when I was a toddler, a 2 years old or 3 years old maybe. She taught me about the animal names and colors. Yeah.
No, sorry. Actually, just Big D, he was healing leukemia and he didn't go to school. He didn't start the school when his age supposed to. So I just teach him English because I think he should know English and better than he don't know anything.
Yeah, if I did not know English, how come I would came and meet you guys? And how come I came to be the NFT Big D book now?
Great questions. Great questions. And whose head are you patting?
Is that your brother or friend?
He's my brother. He's not my friend. He's too young to be my friend.
He's not your friend? You can't be friends with your brother?
No, I can, but I mean, he's not my ordinary friend from school or
Of course not.
my friend from a house. He's my brother. He's too young to be a friend from my house or my school. So here's my brother. He's dated. He already have an NFT account called Chubby Cheeks NFT, and yeah, you can see, hence the name. He has big cheeks.
I think you guys are the most innovative NFT artists that I've seen yet. I think you're going to be very successful. Okay, more questions, guys. More questions. I thank you very much for. I'm glad that you find this inspiring. I'm glad you're here. We believe that yeah, it's sad that people are getting ripped off and everything, and that's not right. And that's something that happens in early spaces. unfortunately, but we are certainly working hard to help, to create and help guys like Matthew and this whole community create a place where that is not a risk or less of a risk, so that we can just focus on art and people and community building.
Yes, yes. So Tundi, do you have a question or a comment?
Yeah, thank you very much, Matthew and everybody else. My name is Tunde Adebono, and I'm a digital artist and a comic book colorist from Nigeria. And also, I'm a co-founder of a studio here in Nigeria. We make comic books. So, my question actually is, the other day on the space, and Matthew was talking about those that are interested in building the foundation. So I want to ask, like, is there a way, someone can come in to like help the cause of the foundation? Or because I think what this meeting is all about is trying to get things done to help build the foundation. So I don't, and the second question I want to ask is, this foundation that we are building, is it only going to be for those that are part of the family, like it's only going to be for some certain people that would like to be the part of the foundation, or it will be open for everybody else, like all the other platforms? Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's a good question. And that's something that the DAO would kind of do. I mean, it depends. I mean, if we have a foundation and foundational artists and we have thousands and thousands and thousands of them, and we have collectors and investors and stuff, if we have a whole ecosystem, then we could keep it somewhat closed, or we could limit who gets in. I mean, we can have a kids metaverse, a kids, NFT marketplace. We can have a beginner NFT, there's sky's the limit on what we can do. And that's where we'll have some meetings, just like the One World Project is doing. They're having a DAO steering committee of like 40 people trying to decide what they're going to do. That's what I'm going to do. I have some core partners from around the world who I'm going to admit somebody else who are part of this that will help us get it set up and stuff. Part of my goal is to work with big funders, and the NFT marketplace is just one aspect of it. To me, it's a very important aspect of it, and working with other NGOs and not-for-profits and CBOs in Africa to fund solutions. We'll be creating our own games. We'll have reputational points. We'll partner and mesh with like Joint Seeds, Local Scale, Regen Network. We can have our own little carbon offset market. The sky's the limit. I've thought about having prizes. So like right now, anybody who doesn't have economic security, doesn't have money, you could actually earn tokens for watching this video. One, because you're going to learn how to secure your wallet or teach it. Let's say this was just about wallet security and NFT security for your potential buyers and stuff like that. So like Douglas, I'm assuming has enough money. He doesn't need to apply and get 5 Telos or 10 Telos or 25 Telos, then we'll have games and prizes. So I mean, this isn't meant to be a detailed one. I'm going to be doing some details and working with people, getting into tokenomics, and we'll have a founder's coin, which will be very few of. And then you'll have other currencies and stuff. And Graham and I have been talking about this for years and stuff. So we don't want to bore people here. We want to keep this kind of lively and stuff. We'll work. This is just more about seeing where dStor is at, where the marketplace is at, how can we incorporate it? Do we need to start a side chain? So I've got already a lot of the answers that I was looking for personally, and I wanted you guys to hear it as well. And then behind the scenes, some of us got another person coming. We'll start doing some groups together and do some things. But I'm looking at, I'm going to be one of the financer guys who's going to be looking for funding. So I'll go to the billionaire hedge funds or whatever, if we're going to do some loans or something. But yeah, we want to do like Telos, where there's not going to be any whale that owns over 3%. And if some of our currencies or a lot of our currencies, it's going to be free open source, and you can only buy so many. And that's where I got to talk to the tokenomics experts. I'm not a tokenomics expert. I have some thoughts and ideas and stuff, but I'm all about heartstorming, brainstorming. Graham, you were in upper management in P&G, or tell us a little bit about yourself. I'll unmute you here. Let me see that. Well, how do I unmute you here? Let's see. Where is he? I don't
Right,
know.
that should be working. You should be able to hear me now. So my first career was in particle physics research. Used to be an academic trying to figure out how fundamental particles interact with each other. Then I had a career with Procter & Gamble in management, both in P&G Brussels for Europe, as well as in 5 years in China. And I left P&G in 2008, looking at the way the world was going and the way it was speeding up, saying to myself, okay, I don't think that anything that any of my money is invested in is going to be worth anything by the time I actually need it. By the time we hit 2030, 2040, if we haven't rebuilt the economy to be a net positive regenerative economy, so why am I staying in this company where the main thing keeping me there is the pension scheme? So pulled out of P&G and said, right, nobody else is seeing it. I'm trying to get things to change inside the company. Every time in a meeting room, I try and do something, starting from the early 2000s, I end up bruised and bleeding in the corner of the meeting room. Something is fundamentally wrong with the way business is built. So left P&G in 2008 saying, okay, I've tried everything I can. People like John Elkington with Triple Bottom Line have done everything they can. It's not working. At best, we're slowing the ship down. And maybe that even makes it worse because it's giving us the illusion that we're doing something when actually we're still out of control on the river heading towards Niagara Falls. So left P&G, and that's what I've been doing then for the past 15 years, is what I was saying earlier, figuring out what is it that we're not looking at. And because we're not even seeing it, we're not grasping that until we change it, we're not actually going to be able to build a regenerative economy. And so that's what's been driving me. And for those who wonder, for many, many years now, most days I feel a high level of anxiety. And at the same time, I'm consciously choosing to act from hope, regardless of whether I feel hope or not, because that was the one thing I learned growing up in South Africa. Even if you can't actually see a route forwards, there may still be a route forwards. For me, that was one of the big gifts that South Africa has given the world is in apartheid South Africa as I was growing up. I didn't see any possible route to a post-apartheid future, at least not one that was other than a very violent revolution. And the emergence of things like the Truth and Reconciliation Council, etc., is a far better route out of apartheid than anybody had any reason to imagine. And it's that experience that keeps me going, that maybe there's something none of us can see that will emerge in 6 months, in 1 year's time, whenever, that will be a way of dealing with what we have today. So that's at the heart of me.
Yeah, and so for me,
Wow.
yeah, for me, I'm very optimistic, and I guarantee it's the NFT marketplace and all the love and support and the stories and the vulnerabilities and talking about mental wellness and stuff, because we don't have capitalism in America. We have corporatism. The corporations control the media, they control the government, the military industrial complex, pharmaceuticals. So this isn't about a judgment, this is factual. We have printed, I've heard 35 to 40% of all dollars in circulation in America in the last like 2.5 years. What is
80%.
Huh?
80%.
Wow, I heard 35 to 40%, but anyway, it doesn't matter whether it's 40% or 80%, it's too much.
It does.
Well,
but
I
it's
think
a lot, but it is.
I think
It's
40%, 40% in 2.5 years is still going to be bad enough versus 80%. I mean, 80%, yeah, it'd be worse, but I've studied, so I've studied Peter Schiff and money and monetary stuff. That's part of the things that I've been studying for decades. And I've been to a museum down in Montenegro, and they, you know, and I've been to Zimbabwe, and I understand hyperinflation there. You know, I mean, Greece had problems. You know, so this is what I remember, and it's not 100% factual. You know, don't quote me on this, but since like 1750-ish, every fiat currency made, I think like maybe 80 or 85% of them are gone. Gone, zero. So, I mean, you want to talk about Bitcoin being a scam going to zero? I think there's zero chance of Bitcoin going to zero, because there'd be some millionaire that, you know, if it goes to a penny a Bitcoin, some billionaire would buy all the Bitcoin to say, hey, I own all the Bitcoin, you know, like for 20 bucks or 100 bucks or whatever it is. To me, blockchain is here to stay. It's in NFTs here to stay. Oh, Douglas, real quick on metaverses. So I've only been in one metaverse. And it was an interesting experience, and it was a private gallery. And then I went into something, it was like VC, Solas or whatever, and I couldn't tell whether it was a real or not. So he says he doesn't call it a metaverse, but to me it seemed like a metaverse, but he had a different name terminology for it. What do you know about metaverses and the progression? Are we in the next 1 to 2, 3 years, is it going to just keep getting better and add more features? So like you can see the piece of art, and then maybe you go up and click a button, and then you can hear the artist talking about it and stuff like that.
Well, that's yeah, lots of things. First of all, if you want to check the link, I did add a link to, if you want to check the chat, I did add a link to an article saying that's called 80% of US dollars in existence printed in January 2020 to October 2021. So
wow.
If everyone wants to follow up on that, not to be right, but you know, there you go.
Yeah, I thought 35 and 40% was crazy bad.
Yeah, I mean, just so people understand the scale of it, I don't disagree with you that 40% is terrible, and you know, and merely twice the percentage.
I also heard that they stopped they stopped informing us what the M1, the money supply, was.
They did. That might be over the heads of a few people here, but a lot of people it's not. Just the M1 is you know, there's different definitions of money supply, right? And M1, M2 are the ones that mostly get used. And yeah, the US Fed stopped disclosing that. They had disclosed it for years, and then they just basically
and
stopped.
the US Fed is not the US
but they also, about 2 or 3 years ago, they also changed the definition. Before they stopped, they slightly changed the definition they're trying to do what they, you know, like they could hide it, and then they printed 4 times more money than there was. And you know, that's what 80% is. If you have 80%, it means you have 20%. It means you printed a new 4 times more, or a total of 5. You have now 5 times more money than you used to, and so they couldn't hide anymore. And so they just stopped reporting. This is the kind of stuff that people used to talk about, and you sound like you should be wearing a tinfoil hat or something because you're crazy.
First they laugh at you.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I mean, you know, all of us, I think, have experienced some of that. But people are like, oh no, that can't be. That's why I like to try to, whenever possible, back up stuff I say, so it's not just craziness. I'm like, nope, here's the link. You know, I just think I wish there was more of that in the world.
Well,
so
yeah,
we have to be. It's a bad situation. I would say metaverses, to get to your main question though, metaverses are going to get better and better. I've seen so many great things right now. Of course, sounds like you're talking about like an NFT gallery where it looks like you're walking around in an art gallery, just kind of in the same way as this Zoom looks like we're in a classroom or something. Right. But even more so, right? Well, you know, most NFTs are flat, you know, still flat objects that are easy to show in a picture frame. So that's a pretty easy space. As we get more things that are more 3D and sculptural and moving and all that stuff, that won't look as good in our current level of metaverse galleries, but that will keep improving, and pretty soon it'll feel like we're walking around in it. Eventually, eventually it'll get so good that that it may even be hard to realize when you're where you are. And that's why some people think we're living in a simulation. As long as it's just your phone, an Oculus phone type thing, it's not going to be that great. When it's Matrix 1 sort of jack into your head type thing, or something maybe a little bit less than that, maybe there's some little chip that Elon Musk puts in our heads, so we can, that is going to be, then we're going to get, so we can barely realize the difference. But along the way, and that's going to happen over 5-10 years, along the way, it's just going to be a better experience. So you're going to see more people go into it. Everyone who's here is super early in this space. And I do have to agree, it used to be people like long-haired hippies talking about how the economy is broken and it's not for the common man and stuff like that. And now we just accept that as fact. Like it's we are all validated. It doesn't do us any good for the people who disagreed with us in the past, but we're all validated that, yeah, it is broken. It's a problem. It's broken. And
we've known, for a lot of us have known for a long time. And then a lot of people felt disempowered. If you felt like you were lower down on the totem pole, you weren't into business, didn't have money, you didn't have any control. So you just lived your life. You didn't worry about that stuff. But now with the war and gas prices and food prices and stuff.
And
yeah.
I mean, it's really, and pandemic, let's not forget that. It's really gone.
Seriously, I haven't watched
the biggest problem of all we have to do something about.
I haven't been watching the news hardly at all lately, the last couple of weeks. I used to be a newsaholic because that's just part of what I did. They were talking about the war. I never CNN for weeks there. They never talked about the virus at all. So the virus every day, then the war happens, and not saying they didn't. I'm saying my perception, my experience, when I turned on the news, it was always about the Ukraine war and stuff like that, which is something I'm very interested in stopping, and that's another subject. So
that's a very worthwhile thing. There's too much stuff it's too big a world. There's too much stuff that's going on, right? So even if we're watching about the epidemic and what's happening in Ukraine, very few people in the Western world are paying attention to what's happening in Yemen, for example, where there's also a terrible war. But the
Somalia, Syria, Afghanistan, Palestine, Venezuela, Cuba. I mean,
Saudi Arabia, who's our Western ally, and has all the gas, is the Russia in that scenario. And
I have a dear Facebook friend who's one of us living in Yemen. So I've known for years what's going on. And
I mean, a lot of folks here are from Nigeria. I have now through Telos, I have a lot of friends in Nigeria. And I mean, and Nigeria's an amazing country. Like, I understand that the average age is like 19 years old. It's incredible.
Africa as a whole has a very young population. To me, I see Africa as a rising star. In 10, 15 years, I see it as an amazing continent, especially if we do the regenerative eco restoration camps. And for me, we have to adapt, mitigate, and prepare. We have to assume that, Madagascar got hit by 2 storms like within 6 weeks of each other, and they only averaged, this is an exact quote, but like maybe 1 major storm every 10 or 12 years or something. So to have 2 major storms,
it did only average that.
Yeah.
Now it'll be new. Yeah, I mean, this is like another thing about Nigeria, as I'm sure a lot of people who are Nigerians here know much more than I. I mean, there's a huge oil economy that's very extractive and does not properly reward the people of Nigeria for their mineral wealth, and also other types of mining. Like, it all goes to American and British and other sort of Western, Belgian, Dutch, all kinds of, but these entrenched Western, economies that that have the capital to put into advanced extraction methods so they can get the oil. And then as a result, they get a a lot of oil, they get a lot of the revenue, and that doesn't go back to the people there. But the people get stuck with all the pollution and everything like that. It's an unfair system.
There's
and
pollution from the oil industry and gas industry and nuclear and mining and lithium and really.
Yeah. Although I got to say, I actually like the nuclear industry better. Because instead of pumping it all into the air, it's in one place. You got to figure out what to do with your waste, but it doesn't create any carbon. There's a lot of advantages.
We do have some challenges, like the GE.
I agreed.
Like
my
the
father-in-law was a PhD nuclear scientist.
You know, like Fukushima, the GE Generation 3, where they put the storage rods at the top of the dome, not a good plan, especially if you lose power and don't have water to cool those rods, which is
right. There's a lot of problems. Everything has a lot of problems, and it's but like I only mentioned that because in response to you lumping nuclear in where I think it could potentially be.
We're talking about newer, smaller nuclear, yet, and I'm not an expert on the newer, smaller ones. In the past, the permitting process could take you like 10 or 15 years to build a nuclear plant in America. So
I believe all that's true. And also
we don't have 10 or 15 years. So let's say we have great smaller reactors, which are safer. And I know they're working, you get fission, fusion. I know they're talking about, and I get those mixed up. I know it sounds stupid, but I forget which one is the better one. But they are talking about, they talked about some breakthroughs a few years ago, and then I heard they backtracked and said, no. Now,
fission is taking a big atom like plutonium or uranium and breaking it apart into smaller atoms. And that's the one that actually works now. Fusion is taking the very smallest atom, hydrogen, and combining them. And that is more like how the sun works. And that is thought to be less polluting, but it's also, we're always 20 years from it. 20 years ago, we were 20 years from it. 30 years ago, we were 20 years from it. Today, we're 20 years from it. So that's, we should be, if we can crack that nut, we can solve all these problems. But yeah, I mean, like there's a lot of this is coming, everything is coming back to energy. The war in Russia, the reason we can't do more is coming back to oil and nuclear. We can't, you can't stop them from murdering people because they have all the oil and they have a lot of nuclear weapons that may or may not work. So
40% of their GDP, I believe, comes from the oil gas industry. So
but this is not, are people interested in this? Because this is really not what.
Well, that's true. Anyway, yeah, let's
what we signed them up to hear.
Well, we were gonna solve the world's challenges just within the next one or two conversations. Then no,
you, me, and Big D. That's right.
So yeah, no, we got sidetracked a little bit, but that's okay. No, because you've answered so many questions very quickly, and that's good. And we did it in an open, transparent way, versus a few of us founders knowing everything and then we capitalize it. No. This is open, transparent. The Web3, for me, what Web3 is about. It's more open, it's more transparent. We don't want whales in this, what we're creating, this new network of which NFTs is going to be just one part of it. Security is going to be extremely important. Communication is going to be extremely important. And Big D is going to be like the poster child of the NFT marketplace. So he'll be like, you need to come into our marketplace. I'm going to kick your butt with the Gruffalo.
Hey, so it looks like we're a few minutes short of 2 hours.
Okay, yeah.
And it looks like we still, like, I want to make sure that everyone, like Tunde has his hand raised. Speaker Jill has her hand raised.
Yeah, good point. And I'm a bad host. Let me go to Speaker Jill here real quick. I'm learning. I haven't done Zoom in a long time, so I'm trying to ask you to mute. Okay, come on.
We can't hear you yet, Speaker Jill.
Okay, you can hear me now? All right. Okay, so Matthew, just an update. I'm clearly home and out of the hospital, I'm sorry I kept coming in and out of Zoom because I kept losing service because there was like one bar, but I'm fine. Still in pain, but I'll live. But I'm glad I got to listen in. Okay, so I have two questions. The first one is, and just because I wanted to make sure I was understanding what we were doing correctly. So the Telos blockchain is basically what will support our marketplace, kind of like Ethereum is the blockchain on which like OpenSea runs. Is that, I got the concept right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So all of these run on blockchains. What the advantages, some of the advantages of blockchains, other than me and Sean, are that it's very fast. It's never been down in over 3 years, unlike most blockchains. Even Ethereum, Bitcoin, EOS, all those have been down at one point. We've never been down because we have really good security protocols. We are community run, so there's no, like Matthew was saying, nobody owns more than nobody. There's no company behind it. It's all decentralized from block producers, validators all over the world. And so, and it's, there's nobody has like 50% or anywhere near that. More like, I think the biggest holders have like 4 maybe %. And so it's very egalitarian. So those are our advantages.
Oh, that and that sounds incredible. And
Oh,
that brings
also low speed. I'm sorry, high speed. We're the fastest. Where every block, whereas on Ethereum it's 12 to 15 seconds per block, and Bitcoin is 10 minutes per block. We are 1/2 second per block consistently. Every second there's 2 new blocks. So it just happens like that. And then also our fees are quite low. So
and the gas fees would be negligible.
very. What's that?
The gas fees would be negligible.
They're, yeah, negligible. So for example, like, so you wouldn't believe it. So for example, on there's Telos native, where there's no gas fees. You simply have to stake some for your resources, but there's no actual transaction fee. And then on our Telos EVM, which allows us to run Solidity contracts, there has to be a gas fee. It's a very low. I just put out a whole NFT contract that would have cost a minimum of $60 to put out to publish on Ethereum, but probably more. It costs 1.3 cents US.
Wow. Okay, so you're not the marketplace like OpenSea.
No, it's a chain.
We would be the marketplace
that a marketplace would build on top of the chain.
Yeah, we would
Right.
create a marketplace.
So
and
we
put it
would
on
be
there.
the marketplace.
Yeah.
Okay.
You would build your
Right.
marketplace. And so there's a chain that we build, but you guys are but anyone is welcome to help run the chain. So you guys could come in and be part of running the chain. Then on top, it's like a stack, right? So on top of that stack, here's my face. On top of that stack is like the marketplace, right? And then within that and that you run, but there's others as well. There's 3 or 4 already. But that's plenty. I mean, but there's plenty of room for more. And then especially one with a big group as big as your guys. And then there's artists that come in and deploy their NFTs on top of that stack. And so that's how all that works.
Okay. And then my second question is, and it's kind of to you, Matthew, and I'm sure I am kind of hearing it wrong, maybe. When y'all were talking about the nodes and the points and stuff, you kind of said, and I know that we're very focused because we have a ton of Nigerian artists that'll be a part of this and given that opportunity, but you kind of mentioned, like Nigeria and Serbia and the UK to have these like nodes set up. This is something the states will be able to, because I'm in Texas. So is this something that the states will be integrated into, or is it really an outside of the states kind of a thing?
No, I'll answer that if that's okay. So Telos, I don't know if you hear the earliest when I was talking about how Telos was built by about 120 people around the world. Telos has it turns out, and at that time China was very big into everything, but because of the way we launched and who launched it and what we're trying to do, turns out North America and the United States is the two biggest contributors, the home of the two biggest the continents that have the most validator nodes on Telos happen to be North America and Western Europe. Right. Okay. There's maybe 2 or in 8, 2 or 3, there's very few in Asia. There's one in Texas already based in Waco. It's one of our best. A guy named JT Bice runs that. Awesome dude. And he's a member of the Telos Core Devs, and he's one of the top guys. It's called Kainos BP. So we are repped in Texas for sure. And but we have, I'm in Seattle area. We have several in California. So we're all over the US. There's also a lot in Toronto, at Ottawa, in Canada. There's a number in South America too, like in Argentina, and Venezuela has one, and then in Europe, there's, in Great Britain. We had one in Finland for a long time. They're not here right now, but and then we have them in Africa and the Middle East as well. We have one in Iran. We have one in one or two in Abu Dhabi. We have a number in Africa. We have them in, and we have like 3, I think, in India, and we have a Nigerian. Telos Africa is a Nigerian-based blockchain operator on Telos, and Telos DAC is based in Kenya, and then I think we have 2 in South Africa. This is a global
Okay,
thing.
yeah. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't something where the states couldn't participate in it, because because they
The
have.
states can, well, yeah, the states can participate. We do participate, but if for some reason some crazy law got made anywhere, it wouldn't shut down the network. We're protected against that. And especially in the US, like I said, we're one of the very few that never did an ICO. And also because there's no company behind it, we're every rule that the SEC in the US has ever put out, we are in compliance with. So there would be no legal reason for them to ever approach Telos. And if they were trying to crack down on something, we would be the good guy.
What about artists? What about artists from like Iran, Venezuela, Cuba, Russia, or whatever?
Artists can come from anywhere.
Huh?
Artists can come from anywhere. Like,
but
you don't have to be in a country that has a block producer in it to, like, I don't think we have anyone in Denmark.
But OpenSea, I bought art from an Iranian and a Venezuela or a Cuban, and OpenSea hid it from me, and they're banning accounts from there. So is there any legal ramifications where the federal government is saying you cannot have Iranian or whatever countries artists on your platform, potential terrorists? Can we have Iraqi, Afghanistan artists on our platform, or does some form of the government say no?
How would you know? Like, really, like,
OpenSea,
my position, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't say for sure, but
now these are things
for example, Area X NFT is based in Iran. It's based, the guys
and Matthew,
live in Tehran.
And Matthew,
And
that was
they're nice.
the
I
problem.
work with them all the time. They're great human beings, really kind, generous, hardworking guys. If you think that if you're a Western European or American and you think that Iranians are our enemies, I'd love to introduce you to these really sweet, hardworking guys who care about other people.
Oh yeah, I've met a lot of artists from around the world. Yeah. Go ahead, Jill.
Oh, I was going to say, and that was the problem with OpenSea, is that they, for whatever reason, were trying to ban these certain countries, and they were banning people that were not from that. So they don't really know. They were banning people that were in the States or in another country that for whatever reason, it looked like they were in another country because their VPN, because it couldn't get on anyway. So they were screwing people over that they shouldn't even be doing in the first place, and then they really shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, I'm pro-liberty. Right. I am pro-liberty. I think that one of the reasons that countries are largely outdated is, as a concept, in many ways, is that they prevent me from working with people in, me building an NFT thing or an app with somebody in Iran, for example, does not contribute to, it has no contribution to nuclear like nuclear insecurity. It's no effect, and yet there are companies doing this. I think that governments massively overstep and in these types of things, and overreach and want to point fingers and call them villains. By the way, that's the same things that people are saying in Iran and the US about Iran saying about the US.
Propaganda on both sides. Yeah,
exactly. So I think that just that ultimately has to be an outdated concept, because we have one world. There's no, we have to, it's going to be hard. These are hard, but we are going to come to the blockchain basically is going to be an overlay. You'll still have countries, they'll still have their laws, but you'll be able to interact directly with people through things like Telos. That's part, I've worked very hard constantly for 4 years now to build Telos. And every day I still think it's important. I see another reason why it's important and why I think it
How about
bringing people together is
taxation?
worth all my time.
So taxation, if you buy 10 Telos and then you go out to the store and spend 5 Telos, the government wants to tax you as a property. And I mean, so taxation.
I just pay my taxes according to their rules. That's their rules. I live in the country. I don't like it. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's well designed, but I also just pay it to be honest.
But then, so if you're a trader, you have to keep track of every trade.
I'm not a trader. You do. If you're a trader, you do. I'm not a trader.
Right.
But yeah, you have to keep track of everything. It's going to take software. They're creating a really broken system that is designed to make it impossible to comply. But I still think everyone should do their very best to try to comply, because they also have their own courts and everything. And you want to be, if you're working in crypto, I would encourage everyone to comply with the rules and laws of your country, because let's remember, they have their own, in the US, but most places the Revenue Service has their own judges, their own enforcement, and the computer software, it just makes it easy to look back in time. So 5 years from now, they're going to be able to look back at everything. So I would encourage everyone to do what I do, and just pay your tax, just report as accurately as possible given the situation, because there's a big difference between being seen as somebody who did their best but failed because the tools weren't right, and being seen by the government as somebody who is trying to avoid taxes. So they're gonna get really angry at people who get into NFTs and make money and stuff like that while their economies are floundering. They're gonna try to vilify us, and don't give them ammunition. Protect yourselves. That has very little to do with all this other stuff. I would just say we need to protect ourselves from our governments in many ways, at least as much as they protect us.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was in the military, and I took an oath to defend America from enemies, both foreign and domestic. That's right in my basic Marine Corps book. And I've studied founding fathers quite a bit. That's another subject and stuff. We'll talk about that. Yeah.
Well, Douglas, thank you for answering all that for me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jill. It's just so nice to listen. It's so nice to talk to everybody. I hope you guys will come and get on Telegram and join the Telos groups, or on Twitter. There's something called @HelloTelos on Twitter, and there's @HelloTelos on Telegram. If you join either of those, pretty much everybody in the Telos community is pretty much like me and Sean and Matthew. Like, we want to create something. We want to create opportunity. We're open to people from all over the world. I love where we are, and you guys would be most welcome. By the way, Pedro, I see you have your hand up.
Pedro, I'm going to ask to unmute you right now.
So please join us. Reach out, say you saw it in this thing. We'll send some love your way.
We will.
And you guys would be most welcome, and you can hear about all kinds of things. There's a lot of subgroups and things like that for whatever your interests may be, or they're regional and language and all these things. I mean, it's a global, and right now it's a global movement that is growing, and you guys would probably really like being part of it. You should at least check it out.
No, it's my intention that a lot of us, I mean, I've been promoting, as you know, Telos for a little over a year and a half, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I didn't fully embed myself because I was doing my other stuff and connecting and stuff. Now I can actually relax and go to the next level. And actually Twitter Spaces allowed me to do that. And then, I was into refi community, and then I know all the heavy hitters, they know me. And then the NFT marketplace, that's what took me over the top. So now creating a marketplace for us, and we actually may partner with foundations, say, hey, can we do some interoperability where we've got our thing on Telos, whatever, but some of them already got a foundation account. Can we highlight that they're on this? Your OpenSea versus competing, it's a cooperation, collaboration versus, oh no, in order to join us, you can't be on Foundation or OpenSea or Rareables or yada yada yada. We're not that at all. We're free, open, transparent. You can be on everyone because there's different investors or collectors will be on different platforms. We want our platform to be very easy, user friendly, secure.
Absolutely. So unfortunately we're over time and I'm going to need to leave soon, but I see first Pedro, and then Nocapedius have their hands up, and I'd like to
I kept
honor
clicking ask to
that.
unmute. There we go, Pedro. Okay, go ahead, Pedro.
Okay, hello, you guys. My name is Pedro Angel. I'm from Colombia. And well, I was hearing all about you, all very technical issues of what the blockchain in Telos is going to be. And I'll sit down for a moment and I have a question. Maybe it's not that it's something that happened to me. I tried some phones in my MetaMask wallet, and somehow I failed. The money went out of my credit card and never get to the MetaMask. So I'm trying to connect Binance because that was made up with the application MoonPay, and it said it has to be in pesos. And then I'm trying to connect, a blockchain pesos or a wallet like Binance, and I just can't do it. There's some technical problems to do that. And, well, I'm a little bit disappointed because that money.
Yeah, actually, you're rugging quite a bit, and then this question is something that we will answer. So, our tech people would be working with the top experts on the planet, and we'll have tech people that will answer those type of questions. I've got some wallet issues and stuff, but Douglas, we're already over time and stuff, so we can
but I'll answer that real quick, and then
and
then you can start inviting
whoever else is up there,
to speak. So Pedro, first of all, I'm sorry that happened. That is most likely a problem with the credit card company that you sent funds to. You can talk to your credit card company and they should be able to get those get those back to you. That's the angle that I would go on. Because they didn't deliver the service that we used to work with MoonPay, and they got harder to work with. But I'll tell you, on the Telos side, we are bringing in more and more groups to be able to help people bring fiat currency on.
Okay, I understand. I just want to say something else. You were talking about Venezuela, Iran, and all the countries that have big problems with their governments. Here in Colombia, a year ago, we had this big strike. All the young people went to the road, and they got killed by the government.
Yeah,
that's
a big problem. That happened. By the way, that happened in Nigeria too. It's not.
Yeah, and they really just got killed. Lots of them. I don't know the numbers, statistics, or stuff like that. And now we have elections now in the 26th of this month for president, and they have been stealing the elections, and democracy has been broken down here for a long time. Rich people are doing whatever they want in the government, and there's only about 10 families with all the money and the bank, and they always say how much money they get from their business and whatever. And well, just put us in that list. Colombia is one of the more dramatic countries in the world. We have starving Indians in the Guajira. they die, the kids die, they just don't have the food. I want to help, but I used to have an ONG, but like I never paid taxes because it was too difficult. There were very high taxes, so I just let it be that way, And I don't know really how I'm gonna arrange myself, but I want to help. I'm sure I'm gonna get some money someday, from this NFT work.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. It's just gonna happen.
Yeah. Oh,
But
it is. I mean, you're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about really big problems that Colombia definitely experiences. But to me, it's like these days, it seems like there's more countries are grappling with these problems than ever before, including like like these are problems in the United States. And once upon a time, people and Canada, once upon a time, people would not believe that, stable democracies like US and Canada would have these things. Now we're not where you guys, we're not where Colombia or Venezuela or Nigeria are, where the actual government police are shooting actual, peaceful protesters in the street. Much it does happen a little here, but I think we're all, I mean, this is why, we're trying to build something better. It's not gonna, we can't instantly change those problems. But what I've said for a long time is we need the tools to do that. That's what I've been working on. I can do very little, but together I can, but my very little work, connected to Matt's, connected to everything, everybody else's, that's how you make things happen. And so I'm trying to do, me personally and my team that I work directly with are trying to build a fair blockchain that governments don't have any legal reason to come in and take over, that is truly fairly run, as fair as can be run by it's the people creating it and running it and using it, and we can update our rules in a democratic way. Nothing's perfect, but I actually think it's much better than any current alternative. And then build things like our voting, this voting app, decide this is it's kind of hard to see. This is it's very simple voting but powerful voting app that my company built for this. And
Maybe you can put up the link in the chat.
I will. I'll put up the link in the chat.
We'll do that.
The point is, you can't, if you want to dig a hole, doesn't matter how bad you need a hole or how bad you want to dig it, you can't dig that hole unless you have a shovel, right? And I'm trying to help build shovels for people to make better government, and those are Telos and these voters apps and all those things. We're all trying to do that. I want to make a better world. I believe we can.
What I'd like to do, Doug, is we'll talk sometime about doing a space together with you, so you can be we'll be co-hosts together, and we'll marry, because we will get more embedded in the Telos community, and so we'll do that. Let's go to Brad real quick and just see if he has a quick question, and then we'll wrap it up here. So Brad, go ahead.
How's it, Douglas? Me again. Okay, so my question is, let me just drop that. My question is that especially with your blockchain. Okay, so my issue that I've got with majority of blockchains is that the currency problem is when there's funds in, let's say if I can put funds into your currency, my problem is getting it out. It's because not every blockchain supports the South African rand. And so like crypto, I have to go through Luno, which is South African blockchain of basically cryptocurrency, and then transfer that from there into crypto. And then from there, I can basically start buying in on either NFTs or move my dollars from there into OpenSea, because a lot of the blockchains don't support the South African rand. And I'm sure there's other countries besides just South Africa as well that also has the same issue. And I just want to know what you guys will do differently compared to all your competitors that are not making that change, because it's difficult to go through one blockchain to the next blockchain because you're paying gas fees as you're transferring cash. I mean, I've transferred cash, I'll give for example, 600 Rand from Luno into crypto, and all I got out of it was 300 Rand because of the fees being transferred
Yeah.
through it.
So in terms, so there's a broad question and there's a specific question. And your specific question about South African Rand, very interesting because one of the top 5 leaders in building Telos is based in South Africa, and they actually launched a South African Rand stablecoin 2 years ago, and the government of South Africa said, "Yep, it's fine." So that you can actually buy and sell. South Africa is one of the easiest countries to go between the national currency and Telos. So I'll put that link in the chat before we go. But that's so you're actually quite well taken care of there, and we're the African, the three really big major economies in Africa, as far as I know, are South Africa being the biggest, and then Nigeria and Kenya. And we're trying to work on, we can't talk about this too much, but we're trying to work on a way to actually make Telos be the de facto payment platform across those by having things like, Kenyan shilling, stable coin, and having exchanges where that can be done. There's really no current exchange platform that's usable by general people in Africa, and we are going to probably be the first. So that's cool. Now we're not doing that everywhere. That's a happenstance because of who is building and who's engaged in building, and we have 5 or more people in the Telos core developers who live in Republic of South Africa. So we're hyper aware of that, and people are building for their own use, right? So, but we don't have that everywhere. But we are trying to build those things. Mostly right now, it's third-party companies like MoonPay, and that leads to problems because they're not all, because whatever, either their governments impose on them or whatever, for whatever reason, they're not as trustless as we would hope. And so problems exist, but we are regularly working. One of the main things that we work on, in addition to the technology, is reaching out to financial institutions as a way to make it easier for users to onboard and offboard money in multiple countries. So
awesome. With that, yeah, with that, we'll have more meetings and stuff offline, and then we'll meet together. And Douglas, yeah, in the future, I'd love to schedule a space with you when it works, whether it's 2 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, doesn't matter. We'll do our things and we'll work with your schedule. We'd really like to educate the hundreds and hundreds of whatever people that really are forming what we're doing right now at a rate that surprised me. What's happened in the last month has been amazing. And so, yeah, I'll talk with some of the core people after this in the next few days here and just get their feedback, their impressions. I do plan on taking a week off, working on a white paper, light paper, roadmap, some other things. And, we got the bigger aspects, which we've not talked about, and bringing grant people and stuff like that. So with that, I would like to thank you, Douglas, for everything, and everyone that's listening and participating. I'm not going to do a space tonight. I'm going to chill out and rest and relax. Tomorrow, I'm going to try and rest for the first time in many weeks and weeks. And Big D, why don't you give us a closing? Why don't you tell us what you want us adults to do moving forward, or say whatever you want to say?
I want you adults to have a break from a lot of work that you have done. You have to drink water, eat vegetables, not only vegetables, fruits, have some candy, and take some nice sleep, and watch TV for a bit. or your phone or your iPad or your tablet.
Good advice, Dr. D. Thank you very much.
I will definitely take that. Give me 1 second. I'm posting an article about the EZAR, the South African.
Douglas, don't
Yeah.
forget to follow on my Twitter. And do you have like a Twitter account? I asked so I can follow you.
Yeah, I'll put it. Can you read the text? I'll put my Twitter handle in there.
Yeah, and Big D, I can always tell you what it is as well tomorrow or the next day if you forget.
Okay, so I put my Twitter handle in there. And please like me and I'll like you back for sure. And then I also put in an article about the South African Rand that's and the CoolX wallet. So you guys can check that out if you're interested.
Cool.
Big.
You could download the CoolX wallet by EOS South Africa. And that's the one that holds that's on both the Google Play Store and the App Store, and that's the one that makes it easiest to get South African Rand, the EZAR South African Rand, which I believe is fully legal in South Africa. So pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, with that,
Thanks, guys. Thanks so much for having me. This has been awesome. My Twitter is there at Douglas _Horn. If you want to follow me, and I'll, and I want to keep hearing from you guys. So,
very good, bro.
All right. Thanks, everybody. It's been a super fun morning.
Thanks, Douglas. You have a great day.
Hey, Matthew.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
you. Thanks,
Big
D.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
And I saved the chat. I saved the chat, so I believe that's a file I would be able to share with people. Yeah, and I'll learn how to use Zoom again here pretty soon. And then we'll have our own, because I upgraded monthly, which is not bad. We may find other video chat rooms at work, but for $15 I just upgraded, because I did a year 2 years ago. I thought I was going to go to the next level with this.
Yeah, but I like this one. It's like a community room. Like we're in an office and we're like typing on some computers and some people left, or maybe we're in a hospital sitting down waiting for our blood test.
Or in the schoolroom.
Well, soon we'll be able to meet in our own metaverse, or our own meta meeting verse, or whatever. I think the sky's the limit on what we could create. So
thanks for inviting me, Matt. That was really, really interesting.
Will I be like B3? Will I be 3D in there? Maybe
we could do that. We might have to wait for the AI computer with what is the quantum computing? I don't know. Who knows? But yeah. So has anyone got any comments or questions on what we just experienced? You guys like it? Excited?
Well, Matt, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, this was indeed an educative section, and I don't really have a question, but I'm so happy to be here, man. Like, really happy. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, and this is just one facet of what I've been working on for 22 years. To me, it's an important facet, though, because we'll have so many different options, and I'll clearly write things out and then ship it out to some of you, and you guys can take a look on it and do constructive feedback, add to it. We delete things, and then we come up with something. Ideally, I would like to do a basket of currencies, which Graham and I have talked about, and I've talked with some other partners and stuff. So we can have reputational points in our platform. Yeah, anyway, I'm actually getting pretty tired, so I think we'll kind of wrap this up. If anyone's got any comments or questions before we wrap it up, go ahead. If not, we'll be on Spaces. I may not do some tomorrow. We'll see.
Yeah, be sure to take Big D's
I have a
advice.
question.
Yeah, I will take Big D's advice. I'm gonna rest tonight, and tomorrow I plan on taking off for the most part.
Matthew, before you go, I just want to say that, yeah, I love that when we're in like in the meeting room, so we can like talk to you and like see you in real life. Yeah, I like it. I kind of like it.
I'm gonna bring my Gruffalo next time to the meeting. He's downstairs.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, yes, we can tell. We can see everybody in real life except for Dargos. He's hiding he's hiding his identity.
No,
Yeah.
no, Big D.
He might be a Gruffalo. He might be
showed
a
my
spy.
face, man.
Might be a
Gotcha,
spy.
Dargos.
No, I showed my
That's
face, man. Like
true. I was
he
looking
literally came over
forward to
here,
see
man.
your face.
Okay, wait. Well, I'll give me a few seconds, man. I'm on in the mic. Wait, I'm on the camera, man.
Are we seeing
Let's
Gabriel
see
for the
you.
first time? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Wait. I don't know how to use this, man. Okay. I think
He got long hair. Wait, is that a moth?
That was you're looking like a ghost.
Man, I think I added the background
moth?
and it keeps glitching,
That's
man.
wonderful, Dargos.
No, I added the background and it's glitching.
And where is Numanady? I don't know who is he.
No, he
No
was
wonder
here.
your stories are scary,
It's
Davos. You look like a
Davian.
ghost.
If you look,
Oh
if you
yeah,
look over there.
aliens. And I hope like in the metaverse community, we can create our own character and be in there. Like we can like create us as a cartoon version, maybe.
Yeah, we'll have our own avatars, our own whatever we want to make. Yeah, there's so much stuff, and over the next 2, 3, 4 years, it's just going to keep getting better, more amazing, less buggy, and yeah.
Yeah, you're quite right. But I was hoping like it shall be like a video game, like you like create your character, and after that you accept it, and then you can like press some buttons to like make your character run around and talk to some people, like community.
Yes, and then imagine having a space gallery metaverse experience where you could have a group of maybe 12 or 40 people and you're walking together down the hall, so you can actually look at not just one you can just see the collection on the walls and stuff, and maybe press the button, and yeah, sky's the limit on what we can do. So with that, I think we'll go ahead and end it. I'm starting to get tired here. It's only 9:34, but I've just been working too much. Now I can relax. We've had this great meeting. We've done a lot of great spaces and stuff. I really think over the next couple of weeks, next 2, 3, 4 weeks, we're just going to keep getting more organized. We'll come
Guys, like, yeah, thank you so much, Matthew, for like inviting me. And it's very late for me now, and I'm feeling sleepy. But
Me too.
people like my beautiful rabbit teeth, because like people are making fun of me that I have big teeth. People are like bullying me and making fun of me.
Well,
Yeah.
They're making fun of you because they're jealous.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
Yeah, you're successful. Yes. So yeah, bullying's a problem. They've been talking about bullying in America. I don't know so much about other countries, but bullying's been a big problem in America they've been talking about. So awesome. With that said, I'm about ready to fall asleep in the chair, and I don't want that to happen because I got to close it out. But I really appreciate all you here. So we can do more Zooms in the future, and little breakout Zooms, and then we'll just get organized. And I'm working with a bunch of partners here and around the world. So yeah, I'll be communicating with a bunch of you, and then we can do private Zooms, and spaces we'll do open. But for those that really want to help build this marketplace and find out more about the whole network, and the potential, we'll talk about that. So with that said,
Yo,
you all, yeah, go ahead.
Matthew, man. I'm in anytime, any day, any second. I'm in, man.
Yeah, you liked what you heard today?
I love what I hear. I don't like it. I love it, man.
Love it. Awesome. Good. Awesome. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and close it down here. So thanks again. Enjoy your day, your evening, depending on where you're at.
Bye-bye.
That was fun. It was
Thanks,
fun
Matt.
playing with this.
Bye.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you, Alan.
Yeah, we'll
Very
take,
interesting.
yeah, it was neat to experiment with the changes because I hadn't used Zoom in like 6 months or 9 months or something like that. So they're
I haven't
You're
evolving.
doing a
used
good
in
job.
like 6 years.
How come everyone's so good looking in here?
I have an AI computer bot that manipulates everybody's profile to make us look all amazing.
Shumajis. Hi there, Shumajis. Shumajis, my man, Shumajis.
What's up,
I
baby?
am kitchen, man.
Yo, Angel, what you cooking,
You look
man?
much better than your avatar.
Cooking potatoes, man.
Oh man.
Thank you.
See, man, I
Matthew,
love each and
Mr.
every one
Matthew,
of
I
you,
was going
man.
to say,
Cheers, you guys.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Cheers.
All right, thank you.
Yes. This is Serbian rakia that I made, handmade, and you can legally grow your own, you can make your own alcohol here in Serbia. I don't drink a lot of the hard stuff, but this was plum
Yo,
rakia.
Nikki.
Matthew.
Yes.
Hello.
Hey, is that Nike? Is that Nike?
Yeah, that's Nike.
What up?
Yo, David.
What up,
Nike?
Is that
You're
your
the only
brother?
person she won't get mad at for calling her Nike.
Yo, Illuminati. Oh my God.
What's happening?
Illuminati's the man. Fucking love Illuminati.
Where's Numanady?
Where's
Come on,
Numanady?
he's the one
It
with
says
the dread.
Davian right there.
Right underneath
That's-
you as
that's
far
my
as my
real
screen
name.
goes. Yeah, he's right underneath you as far as my screen goes. I don't know if we all have the same setup or not.
Yeah, it's something.
Yeah, Davian Samuels is right below you.
Is it Davian?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. You got it right.
Davian Samuels is
Yeah,
like
that's right.
80.
Can you guys tell Doubles to show his face? Doubles, stop being a ghost.
That was.
Big D, you both are amazing.
Yo,
Big D,
Numanady.
you're so smart. Oh my God.
Yo, Numanady.
your
Give
brother's
me,
so
give me
cute.
a big smile. I know you're very good at mathematics, but give me a big smile.
You can't see me. I'm like dark in the background, but there you go.
I can still love you, man. Like literally, I love each and every one of you, man. For real. God.
Oh my God, I love you all so much.
Big D, we love you too. Oh, you're so cute.
Oh my God, man. Lynch is in the building as well, man. Like, oh my God, like the family's all beautiful, man.
Yeah, this is
It's
where's 240?
It's really lovely. It's really lovely seeing you all. It's really amazing. Big D, you and your brother cute, so cute together. Wow.
Where's 240 NFTs? Where's 240 NFTs?
iPhone Brad.
I'm right here.
Hola. I can see you.
Stop. I see
Hello,
you.
what up?
I see you too.
How's it
It is an
going?
interesting topic, though. I'm psyched. I'm psyched to see
So
everybody from face to
every time
face
you all
finally.
click on faces now, I'm gonna just put in your faces, huh?
Nikki, can you see me now?
Let's see. Who is that?
Can't see me.
Who's that? Who's talking? Doubles.
Darbles.
No, it's not Davos. It's not Davos.
Doubles, I can't see you. You still have this.
It's I Shumojis.
Oh, Shumojis! Oh my God!
Don't tell me you fell for it. That's not emojis.
That don't sound even. That don't even sound like Shumojis.
Yo, what's up?
Doubles by his voice, though.
That was really, really.
I can't believe yourself for that.
I'm so sad. I missed the whole meeting. Like I missed the whole meeting. I just popped in at the end. I have no clue what happened.
That's you, Brad? Who said that?
I got
emojis, Jeff. Here.
Oh, well, guess what? I recorded it, so I can send the audio and/or maybe the video file. So it was actually very informative. I mean, the first hour, so you can skip through. We started maybe 8 or 9 minutes in or whatever. Then Douglas introduced himself. So I can send you. I'll check and see what I can do. I upgraded. It's only $15 a month. 2 years ago, I paid like $300 a year because I thought this big thing was going to happen.
Guys, I think I have to go because in the morning I need to
Oh
have
my
a
God, who's in this,
meeting.
man? Who's in this?
I
Oh
need
my
to have
God.
another meeting.
Somebody
So
change
bye.
things. Bye-bye.
No,
Bye-bye.
man. Bye.
Bye-bye, Big D. Bye-bye.
Bye, big man.
Yo,
Bye,
who
Big
did this, man?
See, I told you I'll get a picture of the ball. Eventually, I'll get it, and I just had to get it when you're sleeping.
Bro, you didn't get my picture well, man.
I thought
I don't know what to say to you. I really don't know what to say to you. Like, why are you hiding your face? Are you a ghost?
No, I'm not hiding my face, man.
Okay.
But that was showed his face earlier. You didn't see when he showed his face?
I saw it briefly, but it was still in the dark.
Yeah, it was in the dark. That's the ghost mode.
Ghost mode, huh? It's nice to see you all, Matthew.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I'm like wiped out, tired. It's been a very
nice to finally see you in person, Nikki.
Yeah.
Yo,
nice meeting you guys.
Yo, bro.
NFT.
What's Mysteria doing? Like, Mysteria, are you playing a game?
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
All right, we'll see you guys. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I always say I'm going to take a day off. I really should. So I may do a little space, or I may join some little space. I have no idea. But my intention is that I rest and start sleeping and doing some things. And I'm going to work on some white paper, light paper roadmaps. And I'll talk with some of you to see if you want to be a part of this, the whole bigger plan and stuff. And, we've got everybody now, pieces of the puzzle. It's like, if you look at this board here, it's like everyone's a piece of the puzzle, and we just say, hey, do you want to play in this puzzle, and where do you want to fit in? And some of us will be in several. So somebody might be a photographer and a tech person, so you can be in the breakout room for the tech. And some people want to help build the NFT marketplace. Some want to do with wallets or security, communication, tokenomics. There's so many different opportunities and stuff like this. And I really do believe it's $1 billion network within 1 to 3 years that we were creating from the ground level.
Yeah, you should definitely take a few. I did, and I felt great. So should definitely.
Yeah. I want to take some time off because I've been too sleep deprived. So, and I'm starting to get that. I was fine until just like the last 10, 15 minutes. I'm starting to not be so coherent right now. So.
All right, Matthew.
Awesome, guys. I love you. It was wonderful. Great seeing you a lot. And some we see their names.
Love you,
See the
Matthew.
photos.
Love you, Matthew.
Awesome. Get some sleep. Eat your vegetables. Do what Big D said. He told us how to live life now.
Love you, Matthew. Get some rest.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. All right. Thanks, guys. All right. We're going to end it now. And Smoji, you let me know I can send you. I'm going to save the chat again. Save the chat again. Again, I haven't used Zoom for a while, but I assume because I recorded it, I'll be able to send either an audio or video file, put it on the cloud or something like that. So.
Sounds good, man.
Awesome.
Look forward to it.
All right, guys. Ciao. Do widzenia. Prijetno.
Cheers.
Ciao. Adios.